I don't know if it's a like it doesn't make sense to me. So I had beta, the messages beta from Google, and I
Yeah,
thought
I'm
it
on
was
beta.
so. But that's what I thought was the issue because
Right.
this whole week, every time I'm texting or I'm messaging Omar, while I'm traveling when I was in New York,
Mm-hmm.
this thing says the message was sent. It gives me the notification that it's sent, and it doesn't tell me right away that it doesn't. And I end up having to come back 10 minutes later where it says message
And
not
then it
sent,
says,
and then it says try to use
oh,
SM, chat. Like right now, I have now it says it says waiting for one, waiting until one is online, and I'm like,
yeah, I'm
when did
I'm
RCS
pretty much on
ever?
mine.
No, I know you are. I know Omar is. But here's the challenge. I tried uninstalling the app. It's a system app on a Samsung because
Mm-hmm.
Samsung lets you put their messaging app and Google messaging app
Right.
on the same phone as both system apps. So I cannot uninstall it. The only thing I was able to do was undo the beta process and go to standard normal build, but I'm still not able to run it. It says
Yeah.
chat messaging is connected. Yeah, connected, and it says it works. Enable over Wi-Fi, read receipt, show automatically resend a text SMS. Okay, I see here now it says if I don't send it, it's I don't know,
Well,
man. It's supposed to work.
I was sending you messages. I was hoping you were getting them. Hey,
I
everybody.
okay, hey, sorry, a little bit of
Welcome to a little BTS action as we were trying to work out some communications issues. This is the best of our week.
that's how we
Yeah, this
do
is where
it.
two mega nerds chat out the
Absolutely.
best tech of our week, and we talk
Yep,
about
yep.
some
No,
of our
no.
favorite experiences in producing all of this really fun and wacky tech content. I'm Juan Carlos Bagnell.
No.
This over here is TK Bay. I always have to remember it's sort of mirror image,
Yeah,
and
it's the other way around.
yeah, we hope everyone's having a great Thursday.
Hey,
Well, for
evening.
us, it's Thursday evening.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
No,
I hope you're ready to hang out and nerd out with some really fun tech geeks.
a lot of
We'll
good
say that.
stuff. Yeah, no, no, definitely, and talk about hummingbirds and boom boxes and stuff because
For sure.
I saw that
Apparently,
quote.
hummingbirds are real big fans of a good
Soundcore.
clarity, low frequency. Like you get that rumble going, and hummingbirds are like, "Hey,
Like,
what's up?
hey, that's my
How you
jam.
do?"
It's my jam,
Mm-mm,
baby. Yeah, no, I
mm-mm.
know. I don't know why I just broke into that one, but Michael Peppertech says it gets even worse when RCS is only supported on Google Messages with certain carriers, but you have to use Samsung Messages if you have their watch. Yeah, no, absolutely. For me, I mean, I have both apps, but I typically prefer our Messages because the adoption of RCS earlier, but it's also
Sure.
consistent across devices. I don't have to always remember where to when to click things and so on. Messages just works the same way across. But for some reason on my S22 Ultra, it's been borked for about a week now. I mean, I don't really use a lot of text messaging. I'll be very honest. One and I, we talk over text messages. We also talk over a multitude of things. But my son and I don't have like WhatsApp and some of the other services on his phone. So RCS messaging has been primarily how we communicate. And it just frustrates me when like I'm trying to reach him and then I don't know that he didn't get the message. And by the time I find out what it is, it's the thing has passed. So,
Yeah.
and I was on the flight and I
And then
was
you give Omar plausible deniability. You're like, I don't know, Dad. Maybe your phone isn't sending me messages again.
maybe it's just not good enough for the monies. You know what I mean?
I
Um,
mean, really, you should have scrapped all of that by now
I'm
and gotten yourselves what, like Blackberries, or that what the hip kids are using these days?
Palm. They're
Something
going back
about
to
like
Palm
getting
OS.
bullied if they don't have the right Palm Pilot. I don't
Oh
know
my
how
God,
any
let's
of
not
that
let's not get
works.
into
I'm
green
too
blue bubble
old.
conversation. I've had way too much, and I'm not looking forward to hearing about it, especially when he starts school next week.
It's good
We're almost
times.
back, man. We're almost
Well,
back.
but we've got some really fun stuff to talk
Yeah.
about when TK is able to communicate with people in the 21st century through advanced messaging protocols and platforms. Yeah, we've
Yeah.
been spending some good time. TK, like let's just put it out there. I'm going to put you on the spot. I mean, this is you in the spotlight. What was the best of your week?
I'm not gonna lie. The gothic feeling of the launch event of OnePlus's OnePlus in New
I
York.
knew it because I mean,
It-
didn't you just land back in town this morning, or did
I
you
just
you
no,
just
no, no,
landed?
no, no, no.
Like you
Yeah,
were
yeah. My
running
day
up here from LAX?
my day started at approximately 1 a.m. local time in Pacific, and I've been up since
Nice.
then. So yeah, no, I got in at about 1:30. and then had to
Okay.
finish up some stuff, and then yeah, grab dinner, and then before you knew it, we were here. So yeah, it's been a long day, but it's exciting. It's exciting to go back to in person. Um, this is also the exciting part for me was the to see how the event kind of went. OnePlus marked a couple of things that were new. First, this was also the first launch event they had without Carl. So the last time we saw the event where we were all together, it was Carl Pay. So it was one of those things. But I also got a chance to hang out with some, some local friends over there. Hang out with some people, and
Yeah.
a lot of good faces, a lot of good folks. But yeah, overall, it was a
See
quick
some
trip.
tech buddies again.
Absolutely,
It's nice getting to catch up.
yes, that was the best. I would say that would be the better part. Getting a chance to hang out, and I was in New York a month ago, so New York was definitely also a nice thing to see. So yeah, I would say that would be my thing, and playing with this guy, the brand
I
new,
really, we're going to be chatting about that so
the
hard. We've got like a
hotness.
showdown. Well, we might have a showdown. Where the heck did I put that
Not to
Iqoo?
be confused with this hotness, the other, the inspiration, I would like to say.
Right. Oh no, the opoification of OnePlus is complete. But we're
Yeah,
also going to
please
be
stop it with the features. Please stop it.
digging into this bad boy if it stops reflecting. There we go.
Okay.
So we've got a
For
cousin showdown.
for a second, dude, seriously, I honestly thought you were putting the X70 Pro Plus. It
Right?
yeah,
It's
it
like,
has
how did I steal your X70 Pro Plus
no,
back?
it has this the same almost
Hmm.
the backing, except that it doesn't go across as much. And of course, Nvidia going, it's like, why is his face reflecting? Um,
Right. So we're trying to vamp here because Barry Johnson was like, "Hey man, don't talk about the 10T until we can get here." Um, but I
yeah,
think this is really interesting. I did not get to spend any time with the OnePlus 10T.
yeah.
I didn't get a preview unit, but at the same time, I was scrambling because I've been trying to rock this Iqoo, and we
I
basically have like subtle
sim-
variations
very.
on the same phone. So I think it's going to be really interesting. Kind of share some thoughts what those experiences have been. And then I think
Mhm.
we should do a trade if you're down for a trade. If you want to
Oh,
spend some time with the
no,
Iqoo.
absolutely, absolutely. I'm working up my review because I've had the ping the not the ping. The thing is, I haven't had that much time with the phone. I got it late last week, so about a week worth of
Yeah,
time with it, and so the impressions that I've had with it were
I
primarily just
think.
getting comfortable with it. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like last Friday, we got a chance to go
Oh
see
yeah.
the Peterson, right? So luckily, I had it with me to shoot some stuff, and we got an update the morning of. Actually, no, not the morning. We were at the Peterson. Remember, I was like, I
Hmm.
just got
You
an
were you were
I
updating the
updating the
phone on the
phone.
Peterson Wi-Fi.
I
He's in
did
a car
yes,
museum.
museum.
He's
Yeah,
standing right next to the Ecto One. I mean, it's Ghostbusters is right over there,
there
and TK's
exactly.
like, "Hold on, I'm downloading this update." No,
Yeah,
just one second. Hold on. It's one plussing right now, so we've just got to
it
let it do the
it's the
thing.
plus
It's
plus.
hold please one moment. It's the update. No. Update. I've got to get this update.
Everything stops for the update. It was more. It was. I felt well. First, it was. So here's the thing. I felt good. I felt good that the update actually did push, and I was able to install it
Yeah.
before starting to use the camera. Because typically, what will happen is you'll do a whole bunch of stuff with pre-release devices, and there's that day one update that a lot of people kind of don't cover.
Or like day before, and you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah, or
oh
literally like
come
it's a
on, the
short
video's
window.
done. I
So,
can't redo the video
and
now.
so OnePlus was, I guess, nice enough to push that a little bit back. I mean, it wasn't a very big window, but I was able. I mean, so if you got a chance to watch the video, you'll see a lot of content from the Peterson, some stuff from New
Hmm.
York. I finally got a chance to go check out the vessel in New York. I didn't even know it was a thing, the honeycomb building.
Yeah.
So it was like it was gorgeous, but it was a hot, like it was hot and humid. So I was like, yeah, it was not pretty over here.
Yeah,
It was just
New
all over the
York,
place.
New York gets steamy. At least here, I mean, today I think has actually been the worst. You came back on the muggiest day
Yeah,
we've
yeah. I
had in
felt
the
like I
last
brought New
couple
York
days.
back with me.
A little bit.
It seemed like
It's
a
like,
little
oh,
bit.
TK
Like,
must be back
yeah.
in town because it's moist.
Oh,
Everything is
after dark, my
moist around
friend.
me.
It is. It was.
Ooh, ooh.
I was expecting to come back. It's like, okay, fine. I'm back to my dry heat. I'm good. Get this whole humidity thing going on. But it wasn't too bad.
Bruh.
Honestly, I think it was.
Yeah, it was pretty gnarly over here. Yesterday, I had to do. I was shooting. What was I shooting? I had to get B-roll for something, and I
Mhm.
basically, my Wayland Yutani ball cap that I'm
Yeah, yeah.
purposely trying to like just
Break in.
rough it up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, not just break it in. Like I'm trying to make it look like gross and worn. Um, I soaked that in sweat yesterday, and here in Southern California, it's not too different than like growing up in New Mexico. And usually things dry out really quickly because it's
Mhm.
such a dry, arid climate.
Yep.
I went to go put on the cap this morning, and it was still drenched. And you're like, oh, today's gonna be bad.
Yeah, yeah. You gotta
Nothing evaporated off of this ball cap from yesterday.
good.
Okay, I'm screwed.
It happens quite a bit, but it was more about, I think it just we're going through some weird weather, more humidity than we typically get. But I think it's also coming up with, I was talking to Greg a couple of days ago or yesterday, I think he's like they were going to get 105 where he is. So a lot of people are
Yeah.
getting some heat waves, especially the East Coast, and there
Mm,
was a slight rain at the beginning when I first got there, but all in all, I would say the launch event was epic. I think, and I say that mostly
nice.
because they played my kind of music. They were playing trance and techno before we started, and it was the good
Nice.
stuff. The acoustic in Gotham Hall, which footnote does not have anything of Batman in it. I don't know why. Like I walked in there expecting Batman
Jeez.
statues or something, but
Right?
it was
Way to drop the ball, Gotham Hall.
seriously. But the music, the acoustics, it has that church setup almost, like the architecture, the very high ceiling with the setup in the top. So the sound just permeates up and echoes beautifully. Um, so yeah, I enjoyed the music all the way till when the event started. That was even more good news and more things coming up, and I like the fact that they did a little bit kind of information. There was going on a whole bunch of stuff. They
Hmm.
talked a little bit about Android 13 or Color OS 13. We saw some more stuff, and then of course we had the star of the show, the OnePlus 10T. 5G, and then they also talked about some of the new technologies they tried to put in there, and they kind of omitted talking about some things that they took out of it. But
Interesting.
it was, well, I mean,
Hmm.
like I wanted them to say something, right? Like it's a thing. They know people are, and then somebody in the crowd yelled, "Talk about the slide, the alert slider." And then I was like, okay. So long story short,
Yeah,
it was bound to
that's
happen, but yeah.
that. I mean, and if I were an exec for OnePlus, I'd like, I didn't hear anything. I'm gonna move on to talk about what I want to talk about, and y'all can complain about this
Business. Oh,
feature.
see, Rolando was there too. See,
So
my tech reviews were there with me too.
yeah,
He
but I
came in.
saw, what was it here on Instagram? Like
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
saw
Yeah, we
him. I
took
saw
we
him
took a
sharing some
picture
stuff on
together,
Instagram.
and then we saw what's his name? Adam was there as well. I saw
Hmm.
Mario in there. I don't know if you know. Are you familiar with a gentleman called Will Verjusco? I don't know if you're ever familiar with Will. When you
I
from your
don't
days at Pocket
think
Now, or
so. The name sounds
he
familiar, but I don't think I've ever worked with
he was
Will.
the editor in chief for the XDA portal back in the day when I first started working at XDA or with
Okay.
XDA. And the reason why it was kind of symbolic for me is my first OnePlus device, the OnePlus One. We couldn't buy it. There was no way to get it, but Will
Hmm.
somehow got one. And when he was working at XDA, we convinced him to send it to me. So my first video on the OnePlus One was Will's unit, and I haven't seen him like for the longest time. And lo and behold, he's at the
Meeting
OnePlus
up at a
launch event.
OnePlus event.
Yeah, and we're like, "Will?"
10 generations of
It's later.
OnePluses later.
Absolutely, absolutely. So he apparently left XDA a long, long time ago, obviously, but he decided to join XDA, so he was there representing them. But it was like a real kind of like, "Oh my god, I can't believe we're meeting," and "Oh my god, what are you doing here?" And he's like, kind of thing. But yeah, so that was, yeah. I saw some
That's
people I haven't
great.
seen for quite some time, and Will, that takes me 12 years ago. XDA, he used to be before Michelle, before Mario. He's like the OG, editor in chief. So yeah, but it was good.
Back probably when XDA were phones that
Yeah.
you could buy.
Yeah. Yeah. And when everything on XDA's channel was basically how to root, mod, and custom and recovery and everything. Like literally, that's all the videos we
Windows
have.
Mobile
Oh,
6.5, the
actually we were
honeycomb app
we were still
drawer.
probably, yeah. The
Yeah.
HCT touch, the slide.
Touch
Oh my
Pro.
god. Oh my
Yeah, there's a
god.
slide.
Yeah, yeah.
Then, I mean, like for me, it was taking it back to the Blue Angel. The Blue
Oh,
Angel was the template for like what a modern smartphone would
phone
later
is?
become.
I did not.
Yeah,
Okay, I have to look it up. But it was
that
good.
was
It was
good.
good. They had a wall with all the One Pluses, of course. They showed us. They even had the OnePlus X in there. Yeah, I literally, it's so this week has been, I would definitely say, overshadowed by OnePlus event, but it was definitely fun and crazy busy, and yeah, I'm exhausted. I,
Yeah.
I want a nap soon at some point. But yeah, TK saying, "Where's
Where
Will?
there's a
Where there's a will,
will, there's a way to a
there."
OnePlus. I
Yeah,
love
I
it.
know. There's always a will.
From Michael Corcoran, again, it's been really hard. I have actively tried not to watch much coverage on the OnePlus 10T, but Michael's writing in, if this phone was branded with Oppo instead of OnePlus and released in North America at the same price, I wonder how the reviewers would have reacted. And I don't even know anymore. Like, I'm sitting here with the Pixel 6a that's finally on the June security patches. It's
Yeah,
running like
as
butter.
soon as I walked in, I updated it.
Bloop. And you're
Yeah,
like, yeah, there it is. There's the
there it
update.
is.
Awesome.
They
I'm
pushed it
mad that it
after I left.
wasn't pushed
Mhm.
like on day one, but on day three, I guess that's fine. I'm sitting here with an amazing Iqoo. I'm totally digging like BBK's style. I've been writing up a script for a Xiaomi versus Vivo camera showdown. Like,
Oh man, yep.
I just don't have it in me anymore to get too invested in any of this YouTube drama now, because like I guess all the problems with the Pixel 6a were magically fixed. Because like already the search on that phone is evaporating. So I guess whatever people were complaining about
It's
is
all
now
done.
all magically rectified, and it was never really the big deal that they were all making it out to be. And it
No,
turns
no,
out that it was all nothing burgers.
and I found it very interesting that like how people love making issues of nothing,
Yeah,
and when you confront them,
not
like I
not the
got a
brand,
yeah, no, no, yeah,
just literally making
I
mountains out of
finally.
molehills.
I finally got a comment from a nasty comment from somebody saying the Pixel 6a is shit, and then they're like, why do you have to? Why do we have to be beta testers for this? We don't have to buy this and all that. I'm like, oh crap. So I responded as nice as I could, but I mean,
I'm
seriously,
happy to be a beta tester for Samsung, but
yeah,
how dare Google?
yeah. How dare they? Google needs to no. Come on, I would don't buy that. Yeah, buy
Oh
and suffer through the
man.
other stuff. And I will be honest though. So far with the S22 Ultras of all the S series typically. Now I know like every generation has its own little quirks and we're missing some things and other.
For sure.
I've had quite a few like connectivity issues and like I mean like the trip to Alaska with the family, that was a big wake up call for me because I
Hmm.
expect this to be like from a connectivity point of
That's
view
a
to be like
lifeline
yeah,
device
yeah,
for
yeah.
you.
It needs to be there, and I mean, luckily she had. I mean, she also had it was a note, but it was more about like, wow, next to each other, no signal. This whole week, I've been having problem with RCS. This it just little things like these things kind of bug me. Um, and then but you kind of also kind of see what OnePlus is trying to do with with Oxygen OS. They showed us some nice teasers,
we got we
fluidity.
got we got that teaser for Oxygen OS 13, which was
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
looking really
So
clean.
it
And
looks
I've been
nice.
using Fun Touch, and I've been playing around with the Oppo that
Yeah,
we
yeah,
traded with, and
yeah, yeah.
I'm here for it. I'm really not missing the old flavor of Oxygen OS, and I feel OnePlus is going to be in much better shape if they stop listening to the crankiest, loudest, least spending enthusiasts in their ranks, because
Yep.
they're not helping OnePlus
But
build a better
but I
phone.
also think they probably don't even there's a certain number of them that probably don't own the phone because they probably have already either moved on or something
Oh,
happened with their
yeah, I
selection.
was gonna say
They're
like
just
they've
coming
left
back
the brand,
to
but they're
voice, yeah,
still being bitter
voicing
in
their
the
thing.
forums.
Yeah.
Or I mean, again, and this is a testament to how good the modern smartphone is. I know of a number of people that are still in the mindset of OnePlus from like the OnePlus 6.
Yeah.
Like that's their experience with OnePlus, and if they still have one in a drawer somewhere, it's like, oh yeah, I've got a OnePlus, and I used to use them all the time. And you're like, that was 4 years ago. You're almost 5 years out of date.
Not
You're
only
like,
and you're also on a phone that already dropped off the updates. It's not getting any more support, any love from you. So
but
this
they
is
have
how
very
these
strong
strong opinions. I
opinions
know.
about Color OS being
I wanted to
different.
always explain. I'll say this. Look, everybody has their own cup of tea, and everybody's going to have their own take on that specific tea.
For sure.
Obviously, you can't please everybody. You can't make everybody happy. But what you really need
Mhm.
to, what I always try to drive through is the collaboration between them. And to a certain point, many people refer to it as, look, this is the only way Oppo can sell phones in the US. And I'm like, okay, yeah, we understand that's exactly what this is.
Sure.
This is Oppo selling phones in the US. The collaboration between the two companies can only benefit us as the consumer. We're
Oh
not
yeah.
we're not, it's not like, Oppo walked in and they said, shut everything down, take everything out, and then just basically make it blah. No, you still are getting great phones. You're getting new features, you're getting updates, you're getting smoother UI elements, you're getting all the optimizations and the camera experience from both sides. So
Hmm.
you as a consumer, if you buy a OnePlus, you're leveraging the premium quality that Oppo's been known for many, many years that we haven't been able to access. And Oppo and OnePlus was always trying to reinvent the wheel, doing it by themselves. So understand what you're getting, understand where you're going, and also understand that no, that we are not talking about, slow, stuttery UI. We're talking butter smooth, super nice, super fast, something you can enjoy watching and using.
Hmm. Yeah.
But it's just, yeah, you you have to give it a chance and try. And I think the alert slider is just something else to talk about. And OnePlus did actually reiterate
Yeah.
that it is coming back. It is not,
So
this is not a move forward. Yeah.
I'm okay with this in the sense that I don't care about labels as much now
Mhm.
that LG is out of the smartphone game. If I had to pick a ride or die smartphone company, it was always the hardware package that I would get with an LG. And it was like,
Always,
again,
always.
it every year I would put them to the test, and every
Mhm.
year they would sort of earn my continued fandom and support for the features that I cared about most. I mean, specifically headphone jacks and
Yeah.
manual camera modes. So
Manual audio
I
controls as well.
didn't.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, but again, everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't have to let Juan ramble on about LG again. That would be a whole separate after dark podcast.
I can set you up and just walk off camera. like,
The lighting would
like
have to be a lot moodier.
uh,
So
glass of
so with
wine,
with
rosé.
with
I'm just kidding.
OnePlus, I never, man, I could kill for just a really inky Malbec right now. Man, I
Yeah.
need to go out shopping. So with OnePlus, I've never had that exact same kind of brand attachment. But
Mhm.
like today, when I was shooting that slow motion video of pouring water on the speaker, what phone did I pick up? I picked up a OnePlus 10 because I needed 4K 120.
Yeah.
And even though the ZTE shoots it really well, I kind of
Mhm.
like the video better from the OnePlus 10T.
It does it.
I mean, OnePlus 10 Pro. Sorry, not the 10T. So
I was about
when
to say
we
because the
look at
10T does not have that feature.
no,
That
no,
was
no.
that was
But
one
when
of the
we look
tailoring they
at
did. Mhm.
when we look at what it is that they're trying to accomplish, it makes so much more sense to me for
Yeah.
BBK to play more of a Xiaomi game. We
Participating.
know
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
there are different labels like Xiaomi and Redmi and Poco,
Yeah.
Black Shark. There are these different labels, but we know that they're drawing heavily from similar frames, similar parts bins. They're
Yeah.
looking at the regional restrictions and the carrier deals and the warehouse deals that they're going to have to work out, and they build a phone with a label for a specific region. So I do not care that now OnePlus is just another label under the BBK umbrella. They
Mhm.
always were.
Yep.
They always were under this BBK tutelage anyway. So now we're just
From day
kind of
one. From day one.
smushing
That was the
them
controversy
more.
about them. Yeah.
But they were always a BBK brand.
Mhm.
Now they're just smushed under Oppo, and so they're going to benefit from a more direct, larger label to
Mhm.
put their phones together and to put their phones out there. I, I don't need OnePlus to have strange, weird little quirks to be a boutiquey, standalone counterculture kind of brand. It's still a part of a massive conglomerate. It's still a piece of digital consumer electronics consumerism. I need it to be the best phone that the company can make, and if the company's bigger, and if
Mhm.
the company is Oppo, I feel you're going to get a better product. And now we're starting to see some of the people coming back and like, oh, but I'm not going to mess with OnePlus. I got rid of the alert slider. Wait, the phone costs how much? And then suddenly they're interested in the conversation again, and OnePlus never really left that conversation of we can get you pretty close to an iPhone 13,
Mhm.
and we can also cut cash that you're going to spend for a very similar experience.
And temporarily give you 16 gigs
And
and give you 16 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of internal storage for
for sure.
$650. Like the conversation really got hot so they did a few things. They dropped the prices of the 10 Pro, so both the models on the 10 Pro, the 8 and the 12 gig model dropped by $100. So that's one thing they
Yep.
did. And they started at 650 on the 10T, which, because you have to understand, I always try to explain well, actually, I take that back. I asked OnePlus straight up. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Last year you gave us a 9 and a 9 Pro. This year you gave us a 10 Pro and a 10T. What is the strategy going on? And they were very frank. They said, look, we're trying to figure out what's the best approach. Do we give you two at the same time, or do we do it 6 months apart with latest gen, kind of like tip the experience there? And they feel like, they said that the T, which I guess is supposed to stand for turbo, is truly focusing on the speed more so than cameras. So,
Absolutely.
and I think
Totally
that,
makes
yeah,
sense.
and that to me, I say, the moment I said, like, that's actually a much better deal. You're right.
Yeah.
Why release a lower version of a Pro at the same time, where you feel like it's not making the same sense, as opposed to releasing a faster version? So everything about the 10T is speed,
Yeah.
literally. Like, I
I
I
feel OnePlus's weakest overall year was launching the 8 and 8 Pro side by side.
and the
And the
8T,
8 and the 8 was a fashion phone.
yeah,
You spent more on the 8 to have things like curved glass and the curved display and the
that
fancy
that.
OLED.
Do you
And the
remember the back?
8T,
You remember the back on the
yes.
8, though, the super colorful?
Oh, I
Oh my
think
god,
I
yeah.
still have it right over there.
My
But
mom's rocking that
like,
one.
but it was a fashion phone.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
8 Pro was a monster photography
yep.
powerhouse phone, but the 8 was just pretty.
Hmm.
The 8T was demonstrably the better device. It was
Yeah,
the
of
better
course.
overall deal, and I think it was the more practical. And I loved seeing that the 9 was more in the vein of the 8T. It
Yeah,
wasn't like the 8. So
yep.
now coming down to this, I would love. I really feel if we're going to talk about OnePlus as a label, Nord is almost a separate company. I don't even equate them as being parts of the same product lineup. I think they could be completely different divisions. But give me the Pro at the beginning of the year
Hmm.
with the bleeding edge tech and all of the newness. And
And the
then at the
camera
end of the
six,
year,
yes, camera
give
sexiness
me
right
the
there. All of
refresh where
it. Hmm.
you're probably going to have a mid-cycle replacement for an SoC, and then do this. The 10T is exactly what I want to see. It's okay to streamline, it's okay to make some compromises. Focus on a core aspect of performance and a main camera sensor and a nice screen, and then just ride that to
Hmm.
around $650 and get us back into premium nice devices. They're not the crown jewels, but they're really nice premium phones,
Hmm.
closer to what we used to buy back with Galaxy S4s.
Yep.
Back when $700 full MSRP was like, that's a lot to spend on a
That was a
phone.
lot, dude. I remember. I remember when it was like 700, $750, and every year would go a little bit higher, a little bit higher, and I was like, yeah, now $700 is like considered to be a somewhat mid ranger, but
For sure.
I'm loving the fact that, I mean, obviously OnePlus is following suit. There's a lot of companies are going already kind of in that direction, trying to bring
Hmm.
down the prices and give us that deal, because they realize people are not buying $1,000+ from the sale. The units moved at that price point are so low that it makes no sense. Like, Samsung's biggest sellers are the A series, but the A53 got discontinued.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know why. I have a pretty good idea
Yes,
why.
we have a really good idea
It's
why.
like,
I
we
mean, I
know
was
why.
you set up the softball. He's like, he's wanting me to knock this out of the park.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
no, he's gonna follow it up himself. He knows what he's talking
I
about.
will work and puke. No, no. I mean, but I'm saying, like, realistically, the mid range part, the price point around the 800, so the 900 and lower, so somewhere between $600 to $900, that price point right there is growing.
Yeah.
OnePlus is doing it right, and for that temporary part, if you're interested in getting it, you're able to get the higher end model as a free upgrade from the base model at the same price. I feel like it's the right move for what they offer. The biggest thing I would probably say, this is something that we've probably said about too many phones. This is a type of phone that you live within. You have to live within one camera. There's one really good camera on this phone,
Hmm.
and that's the primary 50, and you could see the pictures, beautiful pictures, and
Yeah.
everything else is basically, yeah, it's there,
Because
it's nice,
I
but
feel this is where we start transitioning into a bit more of a showdown.
yeah,
Because I'm not jealous at all. You got to spend some really quality time. The OnePlus 10T is a great option. It is actually coming here to the United States, and I feel this is
absolutely,
going to
I'm
be a
very happy.
great competitive bullet point
Mhm.
when we talk about like an $800 iPhone 13. Sure,
Oh
I
yeah,
mean I think you're doing great. You missed out
like,
because
uh,
objectively
the
the
I
Iqoo 9 Pro is better.
Well, tell me why do you feel okay? So let's talk about performance and overall. How does the IQ stand out over, let's say, some of the other options that we've seen right now?
So internationally, the
Yes,
OnePlus 10T is going to eke out slightly faster charging. You have that 150-watt charger in the
yeah,
box.
internationally, yeah, you're right, you're right.
The Iqoo only has the 120-watt charger, but also in the box.
Oh
So
my
we're
God, doesn't even boot up
pretty
Android at this
close.
point. 120?
I
Ah,
mean, yes, you're obviously losing that foot race. You can charge your phone from 0 to 100 in like 14
nine.
minutes. It's going to take me like 17 minutes. And I almost threw up in my mouth just admitting that that
Do
was
you
going to
know
be a problem.
how far away from the house I could be in 2 extra minutes, man?
But
I could be down
but
the road on the
once
other side of, yeah,
once this early bird for the 10T goes away,
expired.
that extra RAM, getting back into the more base model to base
Yeah, the
model,
H128, yeah.
the Iqoo is going to be, I think, roughly about 50 euro cheaper in
Hmm.
in the few markets where these might actually be sold opposite each other, because they won't be sold against each other in very many places.
They typically, yeah.
So we're looking at probably about a 50 euro difference.
Hmm.
The cameras are a little bit more usable.
I was
So
a Yeah.
the ultra wide is a 13 megapixel shooter,
Okay.
and then we also get a 50 millimeter 2x zoom telephoto.
You got a
So
telephoto. We got a sticker camera. I like to call
so
it the
you
two
got
megapixel
you got
macro.
a goofy macro camera. We got a portrait mode camera.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
not as nice as the 50 mil on the Vivo X80 Pro.
No,
Let's
no.
not even pretend
I,
it's not even as
this
good
is
as
this isn't
the 2x zoom on the Iqoo 9 Pro,
okay.
but this to me is definitely more usable than having a gimped macro camera on the back of your phone. So
Somebody mentioned it.
hold
Yeah,
on,
yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
because the big winner, and I'm leaning in for this one. I'm
Yeah,
not going to
there's.
do the whole gimmick of making myself full screen, but I am making my face bigger for this.
I could do the full screen for
Iqoo
you.
Iqoo 9T. I like how he makes me the little
Yeah,
window first. This is adorable.
I'll make you a big guy.
Iqoo
No, no.
9T is rocking the V1 Plus, if it'll focus on the phone and not my face. The
Yeah. Oh,
V1
look at that.
Plus co-processor,
Co-processor. Yeah, yeah.
the low light, the HDR, and the burst photo processing on this thing is almost Sony good. It is phenomenal. So, if
Yeah.
we can do OnePlus 10T versus Iqoo
Nine.
9T in any market that those two would go head to head, the Iqoo is going to start you out lower. I believe the starting RAM is like 8 gig. That's not super exciting.
Yeah, most devices can start, and I
We're
think
going to start
they
out
can
there.
perform well at 8. It's not like they're
But
gonna
I
be
think with a
unusable.
$50 advantage, getting more usable cameras and the V1 Plus, I gotta tell you, man, this Iqoo has been really nice.
From a
I
camera standpoint, I totally I'm with you there. I'm totally I feel, but this is Vivo though. This is Vivo's bread and butter. The
I
cameras are Vivo's. It's like when you
oh,
say
it's so
Vivo, and
good.
if you don't mean cameras, like you're missing the whole concept. So yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah,
Why did I try to do the best that I can to get this guy back into the rotation on my side? I
oh
totally
for
am with
sure.
you. It's a big win, and the only thing I would probably say is I feel like the 10T, sorry, the 10T's approach understands the fact that it lacks the camera because
Yeah.
they want to push you towards the
Oh,
899.
I think in a performance showdown for
Yeah,
mostly CPU bound tasks, and especially if you're trying to hit it with some heavier multitasking, of course, given that Android loves to kill background processes and OnePlus can be aggressive about that on its own,
yeah,
having additional RAM and the 8 Plus Gen 1 is a great combo.
yeah.
I feel the iQOO's camera focus, also with an 8 Plus Gen 1, and this is the first BBK phone I've ever used where they haven't been as strict with that 60 frame per second cap for
Oh
gaming.
my
I don't
God.
know.
So
Have
yeah,
have you
no, no.
tried that on the 10T? Is it still
It's 60.
kind of locked down? It's still
It's
okay.
seriously
So this is the
Undead Horde
very
60 frames per
first.
second on like there's so much overhead that we're losing.
Oh, Undead Horde
Uh,
is the torture test. It doesn't go over 60 on my Iqoo, but the one that surprised me because there are so many areas. It's an old PC port, so a lot of
oh,
your active combat is pretty limited. But then you'll have this one like map area
hmm
that's enormous, and you watch your phone just crater the frame rate. Titan Quest. I
Titan Quest,
put
yeah.
the graphics settings to medium on Titan Quest. This is the first BBK phone that trekked north of 60 frames per second. Every other
Nice.
BBK phone has been hard locked at 60. And I'm
Yeah.
noticing, like, I'm going through this dungeon, it's dropping to like 20 frames per second because this is an enormous play area to render. And I go into this one side hall and I'm fighting a bunch of enemies, and all of a sudden, the performance is liquid. And I'd never seen that on a OnePlus. I've never seen that on a Vivo. It
It's
doesn't happen on the Oppo. And now it's like, oh, they finally. I mean, again, I believe their cap is still pretty strict.
mhm.
They've started to open it up, and this is the first phone I've ever used that does that.
That was one thing I posted. I asked because they OnePlus is they're focusing on the new gaming engine, the cooling mechanism, everything. And I will say the cooling on this or the thermals on the
Mhm.
on this
So
have
much
been
better
actually
behaved.
oh my god! But not only just
So
that,
much better.
they fixed a lot of the issues because of the TSMC. So we already have that benefit there. And I also always on vapor chamber, all of that good stuff. Every phone has a vapor
For
chamber. I
sure.
totally agree. It's the case. The case that they have in here is a sandstone combination with a cooling mat built
I
in
really
to
want
the
to
actual
see.
phone.
Yeah.
I want to see more phones with this. This little material in the back basically absorbs the moisture, sucks it out, and then builds and cools the back of the phone. You never feel the heat. Any
I
other
really
phone,
want to.
it,
I really want to play with that,
you're
but I really
playing
want to
and
see
yeah,
if they start releasing that kind of accessory. Because I
we
mean,
need accessories like these. We need more. And when I saw this originally on the Glacier case on the Find X5 Pro, I was so excited to see that because we already have the Find X5 Pro had ceramic on the back. This just adds more. I mean, you already had really good material, but this is the 8 Gen 1. This is the 8 Plus Gen 1. So you're getting the benefit of
mhm,
the TSMC transition plus the
yeah,
fact that we have the right material on the back where your fingers never have to touch the case. It's cool. It doesn't heat up. And now the only thing about it obviously is there's still some warming on the front, but it's not so hot anymore
yeah.
that you're basically like, okay, I can't play anymore. It's
It's
really
like I don't
enjoyable.
have to work for like some weird thermocooler to
Kind of
keep
like
my
when we were
phone.
doing the whole Red Magic when I did the Red Magic 7. And it was for me, it was
Ow!
like
This is painful to my fingertips,
it
but
was
it is
like
playing the game so smooth.
but I'm almost done. I almost win. Like just fight through it, man. Just that's how you win the games. You lose fingers, you lose fingers. It's one of those,
Right.
Jimmy, they
So
take your fingers.
in summation,
Yeah.
if it pleases the court and everyone in here,
Yeah, yeah.
it's exciting to see that even internally in one massive organization, they are building different kinds of devices at
hmm
similar price points.
Yeah, yeah.
These two phones, you would think like these are basically cousins. They're
Very
exceedingly similar, but there is still a different focus. When you say OnePlus, they mean something different than if you say Iqoo.
yeah.
And that to me is still for anyone who's complaining, oh, OnePlus betrayed me and I'm emotionally invested in this brand for no good reason.
Yeah, yeah.
No, 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 they are still trying to live up to what the brand represents. They're trying to find where they can make compromises to keep the devices more affordable. They're looking at maximizing performance. I bet you when I go through some of my benchmarking runs,
hmm
I bet you the OnePlus is probably going to outperform the
There's
Iqoo in a number of CPU bound tasks.
hmm
But I'm also kind of a camera snob, and if I knew I have to pick one of the two to like get a fun portrait mode shot of my daughter if we go to the zoo,
hmm
I know which phone I'd rather have with me for that,
and I
what
think
label I'd rather
rightfully
have.
so. You're this is where I where people are like, well, this phone is like, what's the purpose? Like, no, this is not meant for everybody. This is purely.
Right.
There's a few things that they also demonstrate for us, which I really love. The T series is typically the teaser, and not the T for teaser, but the T series always gives us hints as to what we're going to expect with the next generation of devices.
Yeah.
So the technology of having 125-watt charging for me it's unlocking a couple of things. First, we're able to charge beyond 65 watts in the US with OnePlus devices. That was a limitation for the last couple of generations based
Yep.
on what they've said essentially is our electrical current, because we run at 110 as opposed to the rest of the world at 220.
Hmm.
But now that apparently is not an issue anymore because we're able to go beyond. The charger that comes with the 10T works on the 10 Pro to charge it at 80. So now I can charge my 10 Pro at 80 watts. They also,
Oh
this is also the
yeah.
kicker, not that I want to make it sound like I'm an infomercial for OnePlus, they released the SuperVoo car charger, 80 watts in the
Ooh.
car. Now, this is the Oppo edition. Obviously, since OnePlus didn't send me one yet, this is the Oppo edition, but it's the exact same one. So,
Right.
to me, I'm excited just to see the improvements. And again, this is going to fold into the premium, the camera centric version of the OnePlus device for 2023.
Mhm.
That's going to be the 11 series or 11 Pro when they go with that. So we'll have those technologies. So it's exciting to see that. The 10T for me is a workhorse champ. It has horsepower, it has enough RAM, it has speed, and it'll do everything you want to do
Yeah.
on it quickly. But yeah, you're
But
right. At the end of the day, we
Raj here
do
in the
want.
comment, he knows what's up. I mean,
Yeah.
the Iqoo literally costs half of the S22 Ultra in India. It's ridiculously well priced. I
Oh,
mean, I
absolutely.
feel like Raj there has basically some by leaning towards my side of this debate, basically he is correct, and I
Well,
feel
Michael
he has
Peppertech
like
is just singing it,
verified.
praising your story.
Who
He
wants the
wants the
Dr.
Dr.
Seuss for
Seuss for
Iqoos?
Iqoo.
Well, Michael, I've already lost the comment. Michael was like, one coos for
One.
Iqoos. And like, yeah, I
Ah,
kind of do.
just
I mean,
remember, it's
the
TKO plus.
Vivo.
But
I mean, I very much enjoy my time with OnePluses. I shot heavy on the OnePlus 10 Pro
yeah,
this morning.
yeah. No, I'm with.
Man, for so much of what I dig in just sort of lifestyle and photography and capturing moments, it's the Vivo label.
Yeah,
OnePlus has my heart for 4K 120 video, but like,
4K 60 butter is
boy,
for me is
howdy.
the Vivo. Yeah.
I mean, but I mean, beyond 4K 60, I mean, it's the stills photography that Vivo
Oh yeah,
brought to the table, and now it's a good fight between like a really expensive Vivo and a really expensive Xiaomi for some of the best camera photography sensors of the year. So
yep.
this battle is becoming so exciting as we're watching. I think we're seeing tiers
Mm-hmm.
narrow even further. Like you used to be kind of just a general idea of like entry level, mid range, and premium, and now it's like entry level up to around $200 are now surprisingly capable communicator devices. 2 to 400 is
Yeah.
a brutally competitive sector. 4 to 600 is now joined by phones like these,
Mm-hmm.
like at around €600, these things are monsters. 6 to 800, now you've got to start stepping up into much more specific reasons why you'd want to spend that much to a phone.
Absolutely.
800 to 1,000 is now its own category, and I would say you have a very good, narrow, tightly defined reason why you would want to spend around $1,200 to $1,300
Yeah.
on a Slate smartphone. As I look at my Xiaomi over here, this new
It's a
striation
purposely built
seems to
phone.
be.
Yeah. This one
Oh,
is a purpose phone.
but again, I mean, like they built it to be really expensive and ultra premium. It's an ultra badged device. Same thing with like a Note 22.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want the features that make it a $1,200 to $1,300 phone, there are reasons why you might want to do that. But the point I'm trying to make is instead of three dumb broad words like entry, mid, and flagship,
Yeah.
it's almost like $150 separates an entirely new tier of devices with very specific reasons why that tier exists. And I think we're doing a very good job of. I mean, again, I'm holding up this Iqoo. You're holding a OnePlus 10T.
Mm-hmm.
They make great arguments for why they exist in the price frame that they do.
Absolutely. It,
And
but
that now we just need a little bit of extra consumer education to say like, yes, obviously there's an $800 iPhone over there, and that can be a very good phone, but there are very specific reasons why you might want to be considering one of these. They might fit you better, and you might save $150 for a phone that works better for your needs. And that to
absolutely.
me is where competition gets way more exciting.
And I
I'll shut up now. I'm sorry. I
no, no,
was
no, no. I mean, I
waffling
think
a
that's the
little.
thing, that this is part of the narrative that we try to put out. It's to provide the options, to educate, to provide the narrative where people are not able to get it when they go into a retail store, when they go online and all they
Oh
see is
yeah.
the,
I
you
mean,
know what I
I
mean?
don't blame the consumers.
It's a
I
tough thing.
really
Yeah,
don't.
they're not
Yeah.
exposed, and there's no way for them to know.
Because I
Um,
mean, think in the United States, you'd have to compete. I mean, like think about the consumer who's walking into a carrier store who isn't even aware of OnePlus and Motorola, other brands like TCL
I was on the
and
flight, and the gentleman that was sitting next to me, he's like, "Hey, where are you going to New York for?" I was like, "I'm going for a phone launch. I'm going there for a company called OnePlus." He's like, "What?" I said, "OnePlus." He's like, "Yeah, I don't know." And he was holding his iPhone. I'm like, "Yeah, it's this one." He's like, "It looks nice." It's like, "It's okay."
cool.
No, I was like, "Yeah, you go play." No, the reality is that, I think it is brand awareness. I think it's the fact that you're right. They don't know what they're missing because they just don't see it. And to them, unfortunately, they may feel like they're stuck in a certain position where they're like, I have to pick either an iPhone or a Samsung, or depending on the carrier, you may, if you're a Best Buy, with Pixels or so on, and depending how things are positioned, if the thing is sitting in front or in the back, whatever deals
Sure.
have been made with
But
manufacturers.
but I mean, some people are commenting, like, oh, but we don't have great support for some of these imports in North America, and you're like, we
That's true.
forget all of the phones that are just sold here in North America. I mean,
That we don't get that
Asus
much.
exists in North America, ZTE exists in
Yes.
North America, Motorola exists in North America, OnePlus exists in North America. We actually do still have options,
Yeah.
and all of those companies are probably, just barely hanging on to measurable single digit market share against Samsung and Apple, is sucking all the wind out of our sales.
Yeah, I
And
mean, even TCL had to change their approach market-wise in the U.S. market.
for
They
sure.
they they went a couple of years trying to make like a premium mid-ranger with the 10 and the 20, and I think the 30 series has been basically focusing all on basically entry level but good, bang
Yep.
for the buck type of an experience. And I think
Right.
that may work better for them in the long run. I just want them to release the glasses that we saw earlier in the year, and
I
it's like
know. I
it's
really want the
August.
next
Yeah,
wears.
the
Again,
next
I
wear
maybe
light,
have
I think.
not been dignified in harassing that
Because
poor
you,
lady who runs
because
TCL
you,
PR.
because you played with the first gen.
The
I got
first
to,
ones are so
I saw it
good.
for that one. Remember that last time when we went to see the first one, the Power of the Dog,
Yeah.
and I got to play with him for like 5 minutes, not barely,
Yeah.
and then
I
I
had
was
them for a
like,
whole road trip, and let me tell
I,
you, wearable display on the road is so. I would highly recommend
I
it.
am so
You
jealous
should
of that.
definitely try it sometime. Like the next time you're on an airplane, just bring your
Would have
wearable
been perfect.
monitor.
Would have been perfect on the flight back today. Like, yay.
Oh, so good.
But who? Yeah, no, no. I
You've
need
got
to
your
do the same thing.
Samsung, you're firing up decks, you're just going to town, you've got like a screen, it's
Absolutely.
like your own
No,
big
no, no.
screen
Load up,
TV
load
on the
up movies,
airplane.
set it up, and they're gonna dim the lights
So good.
anyways. It's the best way to do
Man,
it,
you
honestly.
really missed out, let me tell you. That's a bummer for you. I feel bad.
There are other options though. I made a bid because I think hopefully if everything works out the way I'm hoping, I'm like crossing fingers. I may be able to go to IFA. So if that end up basically does get worked out, I need something. That is a
Yeah.
long. That is not 5 hours. We're not talking. We're
I
talking
bet you
11 plus.
I bet you, again, I feel like the people at TCL have been very generous in some of their loaners. That if you were to say, hey, I really wanted to talk about this, and I'm going to be on a bunch of international flights, what can you do to hook up some coverage? I bet
Any
you
kind of.
they'd be down to chat about a
I
next wear. Even
I
if it's a
I
little long in the tooth now,
Well, I want
it'd
to. So
still
I want to
be,
reach out and see if they're going. This is interesting.
oh,
IFA
yeah, yeah,
from
yeah.
a conference is not as mobile centric as MWC is. Like Xiaomi's not going to be there. If I found out, I found also BBK entirely as a company is not going to be showing up. So no Oppo, no Realme, no One, no not yeah, no OnePlus, no Vivo, all of those are not. I know that Huawei's going to be there, Honor's going to be there, and if I'm not mistaken, I think I want to say Motorola's probably going to be there. Samsung and Apple. I don't know if Apple shows up, but Samsung will be there. Like some of the companies
Mhm.
go, but not everybody does. Um, but I always I remember I have so much fond memory of the last time I was there at IFA a few years back that I'm excited to kind of be able to make it. So hopefully that
Mhm.
works out. I will let you know hopefully within the next week or
You
so.
got to go hit the Ferns a turn. You got to
Yeah,
go get some currywurst,
oh my god!
and
And I also want to hit the Burgermeister in Berlin. That's to me
yeah.
is like, and then there's also of course looking for some good halal food there because it's surprising. Berlin as a place is not very picturesque, but there's a lot of good food to find. A lot of good, a lot of like
I I
and some
was
spetzel. I
shocked.
want to pick up some good, and
Oh,
then of course some
oh,
doner
dude.
kebabs. Oh my god!
But
First thing,
on top of all that, like, so oh no, that was in Munich, but it wasn't really tremendously different in Berlin. But
hmm
I was very surprised because you think of things like pastries and you think, oh well, yeah, like the French, how serious Germans took like breakfast spreads at hotels,
oh
and
my
you're
god!
like, there are these incredible works of art on this table, and I guess
And
I'm
it,
just supposed to take them and eat them. That's what everybody else is doing. And these like perfect croissants and like these little rolls and like
it
danishes
and this is
and
their breakfast. This is their regular breakfast. They're
but
like
I
the
mean, like,
spread. I mean, yeah.
oh man, like with the same. I mean, again, this is a terrible cultural stereotype, and I apologize for saying it. But with like with the practical engineering you would expect of the Germans, their pastries likewise were accomplished works of
Immaculate,
mechanical
immaculate. Exactly. No, I
immaculate,
my hats off
incredible.
to the pretzel bread alone. I could be rolling all over this.
Oh my god,
It's and it,
buttery
yeah.
and salty and chewy.
Oh
Oh
my God, you're making me
man,
hungry, man. We're gonna turn this into a
God,
foodie
I'm not
show.
gonna be
Welcome
able to
back
go
to
to
the best
IFA
of our
this
foodie
year.
show.
And oh
I wish.
dang,
So
now I'm all
here's the thing.
bummed.
For everybody watching, honestly, I'm trying to get Juan and I on. I don't want to say I want to try to get us on a road show, but I want to get us on the road. I want to cover an
Yeah,
event
we do.
where he and I tag team it and we work it as a team because I mean we had a small glimpse of it back one time when we were there and he was with Newegg. So I enjoyed watching how the team work. And I really feel like events like MWC or CES and so on, they are team events. It is not a single event in a person
Yeah,
because you could just go crazy. There's just so much to do. Realistically,
yeah.
just impossible. Plus,
You need
I want to
people
honestly
with
just hang out more
defined
with Juan on the
roles.
road.
Yeah, I know. I just
We
like
haven't.
it'd be nice not to be all lonely in my hotel room. But
It
you
would.
need people with defined roles, and it's tough because like some of the work I was doing at Pocket now was mostly like go to this one event, shoot everything at the event, shoot you talking about the event, take that back to a hotel room, edit it all, and
Yeah.
upload it on terrible Airbnb Wi-Fi. And you're like, that is the worst way to work. It's the least efficient way to try and get a video made. And if we're going to send 3 people, what we need to do is like round robin. I'm going to host this one, you shoot this, and you make sure this footage is done. I'm going to shoot the next one, you're going to host it, and this other
Yeah.
person's going to produce it. And then you just kind of keep rolling it so that not everyone is doing the same thing for not every one person is doing every single part of the
And you don't get
assembly.
the fatigue. Yeah, you don't get the fatigue. Also, as a
And you don't
team,
get burnt out as
something,
bad.
yeah,
Yeah.
something happens. You need to take a minute. There are somebody else at the table to help pick up the slack. So those are the things where you don't feel like you're gonna have to stress yourself up to the end. Luckily, this CES that passed was not the typical CES. Like we had a lot of different things that just
Yeah.
were not there. But yeah, like a typical CES, people come back either sick, lost their voice, or just extremely exhausted that they need another few days just to kind of recoup and come back to somewhat normal a normal
Oh
life. You
heck
know what I
yeah.
mean? So to me, these are the things I always kind of like. But I also have to say this: I'm not in the same position, and I want to say, of course, we're luckily able to say that and blessed to be able to say that I'm able to have conversations pre CES. I'm able to have some things to set up things in
Yeah.
advance. But there's still a lot to be covered on the show floor. There are companies that you meet there. Like the company I met, one of the companies that sent me a unit for review that sold me the sliding monitor. Now on my laptop, every time I travel, I don't have to bring a separate monitor like the extra monitors that we have. I have one
Hmm.
that's mounted on the back of my laptop that slides an
Yeah.
extra display to the side, and dual display edit video has been a lifesaver for me. So, but those are things that you typically don't see in like other small company, boutique companies, a little bit like that, that you probably would never. They don't have enough budget to be in the media or somebody for people to find them. So, I'm excited to see what's going to happen at IFA. I'm sad that you're not with me at this one. This would have been also nice. And of course, hopefully, I'm just again what I'm trying to do is setting it up for CES. I want to start setting some dates at some point, and hopefully things are good that we're able to hang at least, even if we do a day trip. Honestly, if we do day trip, I'm down for
Yeah.
that as well. I
Yeah,
may
just
not
you
need
and
I
me.
may not
Like
need a whole week.
for no good
Luckily,
reason, TK and I went to Palm Springs. There's nothing happening in Palm Springs, but we just wanted to shoot a video in Palm Springs. So here's our road trip podcast.
I'm
and a video from
I'm
Palm
really like,
Springs.
I'll say this, I'm really liking our tag teams with location shooting. It's
Oh yeah,
so I'll say this. I love the Natural History Museum. The Peterson Museum is just blew my mind because I just do not
it
know
was
how anyone's been
good.
there. Because like, no, seriously, like there's places in LA and like I've been here for so long. I feel like I
So
should
so
know
we've done
everything.
we've done two sort
Yeah.
of indoor and low light kinds of museum lighting places. I feel like we need to open it up like I mean, it's still going to be stupid hot over the next month, but I think we need to take a field trip to something more like open air,
Yeah.
maybe.
Something more naturey type of thing. Yeah.
So I'm gonna put in a loose vote for that's that art museum on the 405.
Oh, the Getty.
Um,
The Getty,
oh,
right?
thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I did a Lumia event there back when Lumias were still a thing.
Oh man, I remember when
So I think
that
what
place
we
was
need to
super.
do
Yeah.
with all of their like open air sculptures.
You know,
So
weather-wise
so
wouldn't be too
good
bad there.
daylight
They
lighting
get enough
and
of the ocean breeze because they're right at the top of the hill, right? So they're on the opposite. They're on more towards the ocean as opposed to
they're on the Santa
towards the
Monica
valley.
side of the
Yeah,
hill.
they're on the
Yeah,
Santa Monica
yeah,
side, so
yeah.
they get the good stuff. And I think you can also get
So
a really nice view of LA, if I'm not
oh
mistaken, right?
yeah. Oh, it's great.
Yeah,
So
downtown.
they have
Yeah.
that one walkway and that one path that kind of overlooks like Sepulveda. So
Hmm.
you can kind of look down all the way through Los Angeles. So
Yeah.
I feel like that maybe should be our next. We can kind of think of what sorts of phones and cameras we might want to shoot. But I think that might have
I
to
may
happen
have
next.
something that I may be able to test. I can't say what it is, but I may. I may and I may not. That's all I can say, and I may or may not be looking at it right now.
It's another $100 Redmi, isn't it?
It's pretty
You're
much
like,
a Redmi.
yeah, I'm
Yeah. How
gonna go
did you know?
take this to go shoot,
The best
famous
pieces of
works of
art.
modern
Yeah,
art.
all
Yeah.
exactly. Porcelain. No. Um, yeah. Honestly, I think it would be a good challenge for us to try to leverage, different devices, and even maybe do a phone challenge again. Maybe do a phone challenge for that
Yeah.
event. But what I love about the on-site location is there's a couple things that happen. Obviously, we're able to be outside a little bit. Kind of get out of the whole studio all the time. But there's also that normalcy, just hanging out, kicking it. We get to talk, we get to catch up, and we're also able to do, like last time we brought Omar with us, and he really liked the
Yeah.
museum as well. So he's been kicking it. So he went with us to the Natural History Museum, and then this time
It
he
was
came
it
over
was
with the.
it was adorable because Omar was like I mean he was going off and looking at everything that he wanted to look at the museum, but you could definitely tell I was like, I'm not with these two old geeky guys. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
sit over here and kind of catch up on a game for a bit while they nerd out on some
Yeah,
weird
well,
old
and
Corvette,
then
I
Juan and I were
guess.
walking. We saw apparently Microsoft had the Forza Motorsport kit in there. So yeah, he got there and he was there for a while.
He was
We
like,
went to
I'm
levels.
good, guys.
I'm
You
good.
go look at the old supercars and
You do
things.
you. You do you,
I'm
my friend.
going to drive them.
Yeah. It's on the way back. He kept telling me, he's like, you know what? It was a little bit hard driving this car. It's like very responsive. Like you can barely touch him. Like, yeah, that's Forza.
Yeah.
Forza Motorsport is not Mario Kart. You give it a little. That's how the car moves. So
Yeah.
that was his only critique of that. But then we took him downstairs, and of course there was the 007 museum car. All the actual in movie vehicles in there, and
Hmm.
yeah, that brought some memories. And then we had the wall of movies. So yeah, long story short, I think the Getty would be an amazing place for us to kind of go to the next event.
Yeah, let's
They have a
plan that
couple of
out.
spots, so I think the one on top of the hill is probably the better one because the
I think so.
views, you get more scenic view
I
too as well.
I also just really like that little tram. They've got the
Hmm.
little tram that
Yeah,
takes you up the
the
hill
side,
to go and do
yeah,
things. So we'll get some good footage from that.
absolutely.
Aditya is saying we need to go hit Roscoe's. So we
Oh,
might
chicken
need
and
to do chicken and
waffles.
waffles.
We could totally do that right after, man. We just like it. But no, wait, there isn't a chicken. Is there a Roscoe's in Santa Monica or somewhere?
Oh no.
The only one I
It
know
is.
of is in Pasadena. That's the only one I've ever been
Oh
to.
no,
So
there's
I'm sure there's a
I
few.
don't know where the other location for Roscoe's is, but
Okay.
I'm sure we can do a little bit closer than Pasadena.
that's
Um,
that's a long trek from
I
Denver.
already lost a comment, but Michael Peppertech was asking about the Geminos by Mobile Pixels, and I just had to look it up, but it's this dual 24-inch 1080p display thing that looks
The
ridiculous and kind of awesome,
hold
and
on.
now I think I need it. So
Can you share? Can we all
yeah. Give me a second, then
can
I'll
we
screen
geek out
share it.
together? So the unit that I have for the dual display for the display that I have on mine is called
Oh, this is
the
very
Deuce
different.
X. Yeah, no. I've had people at the airport when we put the laptop in for security, they always
Hmm.
tell me, "Sir, we need them separate. We need them separate." And I keep telling them it's part of the
They
system.
don't.
Yeah, they
They
just
don't do
so
that.
they look at that and they're like, "Oh, it's the same thing. Oh, this is the same company." So this
As
was at
what as the one
CES.
that you're using?
So no,
Mobile
no, no, no,
Pixels?
no. I wish it is mobile pixels, but the unit I had was called the Deuce X, which fits on the back of a monitor. This is an actual folding monitor.
Like desktop. Yeah.
They're dual 24-inch monitors, and they basically extend, and you can also set them up. They at the time they said they were going to start supporting it with DeX. It's supposed to also support USB-C display and of course HDMI and DisplayPort. The dock is on the back, and the hinge mechanism it folds flat all the way at the bottom. I think
Very cool.
I may have made a reel on that one when I was at CES. I saw them, but I never got a chance to circle back. That is, yeah. I mean, if you're looking for making your display disappear when you're done with it, that's the way to go. Yeah, no, exactly. And
Ooh,
see, you
look,
get
you
the
can
arm
be a pink influencer.
and have all
Isn't
the
that
pink lights.
fancy?
Yeah,
Or
business
you
page.
can be a business lady and do the business.
But my question is, why is she looking in the middle of the display? That's not where the
Her
text should.
eyeline is like right at the hinge.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh
No, I'm like
no.
thinking because like there wouldn't be any text there. They're 60 frames per second
Oh.
resolution, from what I remember, if I remember
1080p
correctly.
24-inch displays.
Yeah. So
So
but they serve a purpose. It's like it's not a folding
I
display, but
they
it's as close as
yeah,
you can
they
get.
they do look very cool. Again,
Yeah.
I'm kind of spoiled because like I had that almost 400 nit OLED 1080p portable monitor, and you're like,
Yeah.
I need more things like that because that was a really good screen.
That would be my only
So
critique of the existing system that I have. It's the display that I have that comes on the side is a 1080p 10-inch or 10 to 12-inch display,
mhm,
and it doesn't match that. So my main display on the laptop is a 4K display. So you're talking resolution, the
yeah,
display just doesn't match. I use it for my previews. I always throw my video replay there so the display doesn't have to draw that much power, and I keep my timeline on the main display. So it
mhm,
helps. I'll say that it helps,
for sure.
but yeah, it could always be much better with like full 16 by 9, 1080p, I'll get 24 or something like that. It would definitely be more functional, but at the end of the day, we have options. That's the best thing about it. You can plug it
Yeah.
in, or and you can charge and a whole bunch.
But I wasn't. I mean, you told me about your laptop display, and I wasn't as familiar with mobile pixels. But now I really got to kind of catch up because I've
Hmm.
loved why Maxit has put out some good stuff.
Yeah,
Innocent
yeah,
has
yeah.
put out some good
Oh
stuff.
man, yeah, yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
You Perfect
Hmm.
and Nex
Oh
Next
yeah, speaking of
Computers have
when
put
you
out some good
perfect.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's right. There's a lot of options. I think that the portable display market has been growing. They're also very
There's
friendly
so
with
many things that you
that.
can now do with them.
Oh,
So
absolutely, absolutely. I feel like this is the right thing to do, especially for external displays. You don't need a lot of footprint. It's easy. It's almost as the thickness of your laptop to a certain point, and it gives you a full display. And you're able to hook up games too. If you want to hook up decks and start using a controller, you could definitely geek out that way. So yeah, long story
or
short,
just have
obviously,
a Steam Deck.
once I have mine. Oh, speaking of which, I heard somewhere where Steam is increasing their production. So I
Yeah,
mean, I know
a
mine was
couple of my
supposed to be
friends have now
October.
gotten
Yeah, I know
their
mine
shipping
says
emails
October,
now.
so I'm
So
hoping I'm hoping September may be my month.
I'm hoping for you, man.
If I can
Actually I
get it
need to do
before
a
the
follow up on
flight,
that.
does it
Oh,
work without
dude.
Wi-Fi connection?
It depends on the game.
Okay.
Remember, again, it has to come down to
Oh
so
my
if like
God.
if you're playing a game that requires the
Oh,
verification of an always on internet connection, then you'll have to sign up to the plane's Wi-Fi.
yeah, and I think as long as it doesn't
But
have to download anything, that should be fine.
I've got a bunch of games, especially like some of those like little like for me it's all about like twin stick indie shooters and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that.
No,
They don't give
anything
a
anything
shit.
that can fill the time. No, no. So what I was thinking is like on an 11-hour flight or 12-hour flight, because it wouldn't be 11, it wouldn't be going through UK. It would be more like directly to Berlin or something like that.
Right.
Uh, I can totally want more than just downloading a few movies and stuff like that.
For
I can
sure.
imagine my
I
life.
mean, really,
Yeah.
that's only like 20 rounds of Vampire Survivors. I mean, it'll go like that if you do some Vampire
If the
Survivors.
battery, hopefully end up getting a seat with the power
You'll
brick
be able to
connection.
charge it. It's fine.
It's fine. No, so for that, I will say this. So circling back, let's try to pencil in some date. We'll talk a little bit, try to look at
For sure.
calendars and see if we can get that running. More than likely, it'll be just you and I at this point because I think by then Omar will be back into school. But I think it'll still be fun. It'll be nice to kick it and then maybe pick up some chicken and waffle. You know, we'll
Yeah.
make some foodie blogs. Last time we did burritos. Next time we do chicken and waffles because
Yeah,
that's
I
how we
mean
do it.
the food truck burritos were better than I thought they were going to be. So,
Yeah.
we both again we kind of fell into the same mental trap on
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
one. Like we had the early experiences getting to play with this cute little laptop. You put your video out, and I was like, oh, I don't think he knew that I was going to be putting my video out the next day. And we managed to be sharing the wavelength on that one.
And this is the
We're of
third.
course
Yeah.
this is like the third time we've both been
Time,
like,
yeah,
"Oh, are you publishing too? I guess we'll publish together
I
then."
think in the future I
Awesome,
just need to be like, hey Juan, by the way, this is what I'm doing this week. No,
for sure.
I think for both of us, it had the laptop itself spoke, back to school, spoke, getting into a small, portable, powerful PC that you could use that can go with you almost anywhere and will fit anywhere because of the form factor and the display. Like the laptop itself for me, the biggest surprise I got out of it is out of the box, it came out with an i5. There's no i3. There's no lower end model that you can get. i5 is where you start. Now, the RAM configuration, which I feel like 4 may not be necessarily the best, I feel like 8 is where you need to be there,
Sure.
and then swap out the SSD because the SSD is a swappable piece. You can definitely get the 128 and maybe get your own, put a 512 or something like that. Um,
Mhm.
Touch display, Windows Hello, fingerprint sensor.
You know what was really refreshing because you're saying like, oh well, you can just swap the SSD, and I think on previous versions of Surface,
Mhm.
for anyone who's listening to the audio version of this podcast, we're of course talking about the Surface Laptop Go
Top Go
2,
to yeah.
the cute, low cost but not cheaply built
Yep.
student grade laptop from Microsoft, and one of the things I thought was kind of refreshing, you don't need to dig much on
Mhm.
Microsoft's site to find basically a full teardown on the laptop. You don't have to go trolling iFixit or looking for a video. If you go to surface.com and you look under support, they've started listing out with PDFs, and they're not full pictures. They are
Yeah.
animated. I don't know what they're diagrammed,
Diagrams.
but
Yeah.
those are the Microsoft repair diagrams
You
that
mean
they
like
would
CAD
also be
files?
sending. Not
Or
not
you?
CAD files. It's a
Oh,
it's
okay,
a
okay,
PDF with images,
okay, okay, okay.
but like they're showing you like where all the tabs are on the
Mhm.
bottom
On the
plastic so
bottom to
that
go
you
all the
know where to get your pry bar so that you can pop those tabs to remove the cover after you've removed the screws. It's a fully diagrammed guide on how to disassemble the Surface Laptop Go 2. So
Yeah.
when you're saying things like, oh, later on if you want to swap that SSD, yeah, you can. And it's
Mhm.
really not as destructively. The first generations of Surface laptops were exceedingly difficult to open without damaging the frame.
Well, the
And these
architecture too.
new,
Yeah, exactly. We've gone much better
so
on
much easier.
PCB manufacturing, architecture, everything. The miniaturization of hardware, and you could definitely see. I mean, it looks like there's not enough space, but you're talking actual aluminum covering on the top. Like the material is premium. You're not compromising on the experience or the look. So they definitely upgraded what we got originally with the first laptop Go. And I think what I loved about it is just outside of producing content, like editing and not editing, but like producing content specifically. During my trip, that's where I was using it. I would take it with me, go up top on the deck, on the plane. It's small, it's easy to connect, and you could do everything you want. And I mean, I didn't do this what Juan's doing right there, but that
Yeah.
could definitely be a good demonstration of love your tech. This is basically how we say it. Live it,
I just
do it.
love rubbing my face all over it. I mean, I really feel
How does it feel
it's
in the
a
hand though?
laptop
Is there
worthy.
sharp glass anywhere? No.
No, I mean, again, I mean, we're pretty confident. It's built well for the hand, but how does it feel smashed up against your face? And I don't feel enough reviewers are
In a
answering the
hot
the real
summer day in Southern
questions.
California, my friend, I'm gonna say it feels cool. It
It
feels
feels
ice
real
cold,
cool.
real cool.
Feels
Um,
ice
and
cold.
and it's the surprising part also, like which I didn't realize till like after we talked last time. It actually has even built-in fans for cooling, so it does actually has some
Yeah.
active cooling. There's some functional parts in there, and it sucks the air from the. There's a lot more. There's more functional out of the top part of the speakers because you have speakers coming up through the keyboard area, but still sound like they're coming out from from around. So the overall experience, I
So
feel like it's
a
great
couple
if you're
questions
looking for it.
here. Michael Peppertech saying, "I'd love to know, can you live stream from the Surface Laptop Go 2 with StreamYard, and how hot will it get?" It actually runs respectably well. I bet you hitting the data connection, hitting the camera, getting the processing going through a browser, it probably would get a little warm
It
on
will,
the underside.
but I would
I
be.
feel that the hottest this thing gets is like I'm really multitasking
Mhm.
and I'm charging the battery, and then I know the fan is going to be kicking on pretty hard. The only
Yep.
thing is, I don't know that you really want to stream from it because the 720p webcam, not great.
It's okay for
It's a
video
student
calls.
grade
Yeah, they did
video
not.
calling.
Not the
I need to
focus.
talk to my folks and get them to send me more money, and I'm in my dorm room kind of a camera. It's not a, hey, let me, fire up a Twitch stream and play a game and also put my face on camera kind of setup. So you can, and I'm
Mhm.
saying it will accomplish the task that you're asking, but I don't think it would be one of my first. I would go to a phone. I would stream from a phone before I would probably stream from the laptop Go to.
Yeah, no, I mean it depends on what you're trying to do, but I think like Juan was saying, you could definitely. I mean, if you want to put in an external camera, maybe and set up different things, but also remember, if you're charging it, you're doing all of that stuff. It is going to make sense. Like in my laptop, even my i7 laptop that's running here does have a fan, and it kicks up at some point when we're running the stream. But I'm about almost like maybe between me and the phone, the laptop is about 3 feet or
Mm-hmm.
so, and the air is pointing the other direction, so you typically don't pick up a lot. So it's also on the mic system and so on. So the fan may not be an issue if you're able to get a good enough microphone
So
that isolates the audio.
Michael Corcoran is asking, did you guys get a chance to use the Surface Go laptop from last year? I can't remember. Is this your first crack at a Surface?
For me, no. My experience has been mostly through day job.
But a
We used to
Surface
use Surface
Laptop
Laptop
Go.
Pro. No, I never got a chance to play with the first gen. No.
So I got to poke around with one at
Hmm.
Newegg.
Okay.
We were constantly trying to like figure out ways that we could do other sort of manufacturer streams. Like we had
Hmm.
Microsoft come on to talk Surfaces for the first Surface Book,
Uh-huh.
and also for the I want to say it was like the Surface Pro 5 or something like that. But I did get to poke around with the first gen Go. I really like that we've gone up a couple generations in Intel chipset,
Hmm.
and we doubled the storage on the base model. So
Yeah.
the first Surface Go, first I mean sorry, not the first Surface Go. The first Surface Go was a tablet. The first Surface Laptop
Laptop
Go,
Go. Yeah.
64 gig eMMC storage for
Yeah.
549, and it is, in my opinion, that we're going to it's still the same paltry amount of RAM. 4 gigs of RAM, man, that's lean in Windows.
That
There's
is
no way
very.
around
Yeah, I
that.
was gonna say. I thought
Super lean.
that. Yeah.
But going from 549 for 64 gigs of eMMC storage to 599 for a newer 11th gen Core i5 and a 128 gig NVMe SSD, I'll pay the $50 full MSRP, which you probably won't even need to pay because there have already been several sales on the
Oh,
laptop Go
and student
2.
programs. If you're
Like
a
right now,
student
it's
and you're really getting
$100
into it.
off.
Yep.
Well, there's the student pricing, but right now, like literally, the day you published your video, the 256 storage version of this
Oh
was
man.
$100 off MSRP without having to do any student pricing.
That's even
So
better.
it was the 256 was the same price that we started using at
It's the
the
back
8
to
gig of
school.
RAM,
This is the perfect
128
time. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
gig.
I applaud
Yeah,
Microsoft for taking an opportunity there and try to bring it in a little, for people because this is the time. Yeah, parents are all scrambling right now for back to school supplies, back to school essentials, and depending what grade and which school your kids are going to, you need to set them up with the right tools. And I really feel like for a minimalistic approach, the go-to is definitely it fits the need. You can get like a Microsoft ergonomic mouse if you want to even connect it to a TV, get a bigger experience. You get the
for sure.
extended Bluetooth keyboard. So Microsoft hooked it up absolutely with all the right accessories, I would
Yeah.
say. I was able to also kind of play games on it because that was my thing. I was like, I know it's a productivity back to school, but the kids like to play too. So
Well,
Dragon
so
Ball. So
okay,
yeah,
I want to kind of pick your brain on that because I tried
for sure.
firing up a few games. My experiences were not great on the
Oh,
laptop Go 2
which ones did you
for
down? Okay, so which one did you download other
so
than Rocket League and
so
Dragon Ball? No, sorry.
and so were those games that you streamed or were those games that you
So
installed on the
installed.
laptop?
No, so I
Okay,
installed. I chose
so
specifically not to stream because the issue that I had with it is the connectivity. And
Sure.
I purposely stated that in the video, saying, you can download games and you can run them off of it, because there was just no way for me to be able to stream when I was on the boat. You know what I mean? That
Okay.
was the biggest thing for me
Fair.
for Omar and I to be able to fire it up.
My
But streaming, yeah.
my starter is always Tetris Effect connected,
Oh,
which should not be a
that it doesn't.
difficult game to drive.
Hmm.
And boy, did the
That
laptop go to not really play Tetris
I was gonna
Effect.
say, where did it go
It
to? I was kidding.
it
Mm.
it it like you don't think of Tetris as being like a
It's
demanding
it isn't.
game.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
even
not.
at its best,
Um,
it's still 2D.
but no, I mean it's three. I mean it's
Is Tetris Effect 3D fully, or?
Tetris Effect is an animated. Yeah,
Oh,
those are
okay, okay.
cubes and blocks that are I forget what engine they use.
I digress.
Um,
Please.
but you do it's not real heavy lifting. You just turn down some of the particle effects and some of like the shaders and stuff, and you should get decent performance. Like I even got okay performance on that little mini PC, the
Mhm.
Geekom, which has an 8th gen Intel chip with
Yeah.
integrated graphics, and that could play Tetris Effect better than the laptop Go 2. Um, that you don't think of Tetris, it's not super demanding, but you do need precision when you're dropping blocks fast and you're trying to make it through levels, and especially because there's just that little bit of a slide.
Hmm.
Blocks have just like a little bit of a wiggle room so that you can kind of position them as you're dropping them.
Yeah.
The laptop Go 2 could not keep up with Tetris Effect for
Oh
any
wow.
significant gameplay. So I immediately went to game streaming after that. Like I can stream. I
Hmm.
can even play Tetris in like JS
Hmm.
on through a browser. I didn't bother installing any other games after that because
I just
I
because
figure
for
if
me
it
it
can't
was I
handle
had enough storage.
Tetris,
Yeah, I know. So for me, I'll say this: it was more about, like I said, offline capabilities, but it was also kind of just making sure I had the best experience. So for me, I ran some games and it works fine. I installed, Rocket League. It was fine. I didn't have graphics all the way, but I mean, Rocket League works. But Rocket League is not exactly a very, game intensive. Like I feel like overall, if it was able to hang with Dragon Ball with the fast action moving and not, crash and go profusely all around, for me, it should be a good mobile experience. And Xbox Game Pass is going to get better and better. We'll have more options, and that's the biggest thing about it. Like you said, streaming content is also the other option, not having to worry about.
yeah.
But you're only worried obviously about the good internet connection, which more and more I'm realizing as I'm starting to travel again, how good we have it where we are, and how bad it is when you're out on the road trying to find internet
Yep.
connection. Like you're talking about the Airbnb Wi-Fi. I had my video, the English version of the video. I finished rendering at 11:30 at night, started the upload, and it was done at 7 a.m. in the next morning. But as soon as I woke up, I finished rendering and rendered the Arabic video, and they uploaded that from my phone walking to the event. It was that type of coordination, because it just was not like, they advertise them as fast internet, but in New York, I'll say this: T-Mobile is king. I got some crazy speeds. I mean, I
Nice.
uploaded what's it called, like a 5 gig file in like 16 minutes to YouTube. I'm like,
That's real nice.
no, but that's the thing. And then so long story short, like, and then you go flip side, you go to Canada or you go to Alaska and stuff like that, and internet is so slow. I mean, I was suffering during that trip trying to upload videos to YouTube, and we've talked. So long story
Yeah.
short,
Took like a whole day.
yeah, it was 36 hours for one video, and I thought I lost it, and it came back by I crashed YouTube, opened YouTube again, and then miraculously it started to upload again. I was like, okay, don't touch the phone, leave it alone, leave it alone. It's like dying. So yeah, the go-to laptop does definitely require that. Internet connectivity is going to be a big part with Xbox Game Pass.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that we've got someone here, a rational techie who knows what's up. We've got Mr. Tech Odyssey in the live chat. I'm just here for the OnePlus funeral. Again, I mean, he knows what's up. If you have the means and you're able to live in a place where they get both of the phones,
Mhm.
you're obviously going to choose the Iqoo
Yeah,
9T over the OnePlus 10T. It's a foregone conclusion. Tech Odyssey knows what's going on. I don't see how anyone could use that other BBK phone when the Iqoo is obviously superior.
Superior. No,
In
and
every
I got a chance to
way.
meet up with Adam as well. So
So
he came in as well. Kind of just came in like for a day to kick it a little bit. So it was nice to see him again.
he's just teasing.
Teasing.
It's fine, everybody.
Well, we saw
He
each
actually
other.
put out a video. Like, did he put out a video? It was like, "Hey, the OnePlus 10T is out. Calm down, techies." He was just like, "I'm
He's
not having it. I'm over this, and I'm exhausted and cranky and old."
It's a lot of things. There's a lot of conversations going around, and my hope is actually at the end of the day is, look, slider or no slider, how is the experience on the phone, and how does it stand? I even made I made a statement to OnePlus during our pre-briefs before we were all gonna
Hmm.
whatever. I said, look, we are where we are with the situation on here, and I know you're going to get a lot of questions, a lot of comments in there, but why have you not considered making a software replication function for this? A key combination, off-screen gesture, something that can replicate the function of the slider for the folks that want the slider functionality, but since it's not in
Long
here,
press a volume rocker.
something, yeah,
Something.
but they seem to be open to the idea. So I'll say this: if you hear about this feature coming on a OnePlus in the near future, this is where it came. And I'm like, I'm
But
just
again,
saying
I mean,
that.
it's one of those things. It's like I'm not even because I feel like there's a greedier version of Juan who would be trying to like license and patent stuff, and you're like, no, I just want to see it show up on a phone. So I'm trying to give you this idea that I think would help with some of your messaging,
Yeah,
would keep fans of the brand interested in what you're trying to do. Please take this idea for
yeah.
free. I'll sign a piece of paper saying I'm giving you my
Full
intellectual
option.
property and go and put it in a phone because you could do that to the OnePlus 10T,
Yeah.
the OnePlus 10T. Too many numbers and T's and stuff. But you could
What?
do that tomorrow. There's
Yeah.
nothing stopping you from putting that in the gestures or in the accessibility
Off screen,
settings.
yeah, off screen
There,
setting, or I told him even a key press combination, like, you double press whatever and it launches or at least cycles through the,
I could
vibration
even
silent.
imagine building it into the fingerprint sensor.
Dude.
I have other
So,
shortcuts on fingerprint sensors. Why can't I
yeah,
have like a notification shortcut? Because
yeah,
like I
just
hold my
follow the
thumb,
slider shortcut.
it unlocks the phone, and then I slide up, and then that it flips my notification settings. There's
Yeah.
literally nothing stopping them from including some of that. But I think what they're going to point to is we need a product differentiator, and the Pro is going to have the better cameras and the notification
It seems
slider.
like, yeah,
We can't we
it's
can't make the
incumbents now.
T too much like the Pro. So even if we do a software solution,
Mhm.
that kind of scratches the itch enough that it wouldn't be as differentiated from the more expensive phone. I
I
bet you
wouldn't.
there's some guy in a suit in the accounting department who's saying, well, statistically, we'll sell X number more phones if we split the features between these two products like this. And
Watch a developer
that's where they're going to
create a
make their
virtual slider
do
effect
it,
and put it
do
in,
it.
and then they basically load it up and suddenly give that feature to every other phone. But no, you know what I mean? No, you're right. There's so many different ways, and with the OnePlus, especially with the recent updates, we have off-screen gestures, we have button not, yeah, butter combat. Okay, now I'm going mentally on butter. It's one of no, sorry, I do apologize. I'm running on a very very long day. Again, started at like 1 a.m. Pacific time, and it's right now mentally for me. It's what time is it here? We're like 10 almost. No, wait, 9:30. Almost beyond midnight there, so it's like 12:30 at night their timeline, which I
Yeah.
didn't adjust much, but
We've got
uh,
people in the chat that know,
I know, yeah.
like they
I was gonna
live where
say,
you're talking about.
yeah, no,
So
it is a lot of things. Can't believe it's not butter. It and with that Fabio shows up. No, I appreciate what they've done. I
sorry,
intended
I
their
just got a
direction.
Sparta's tech review. I don't know what you're talking about. I just miss when OnePlus used to put screens on upside down.
Hey man, if
I just
there's only one way to get Jello, you got to put the
the
screen upside
sky
down.
was falling.
With
Devices
the
were obviously
Wasn't that
completely
the OnePlus
unusable.
5? Was it the
I want to
5T
say it
or the
was the
5? That was the 5.
OnePlus the
No, it is
5.
it. No, it was the 5. Yeah, not the T, because they fixed it with the T later in the year.
and
But
and
the
it was
whole
like I got my hands on the 5 and I thought, oh, what a cool little animation trick that when you get to the end of a menu, it kind of bounces, it
Yeah,
kind of judders. And everyone flipping out like, oh my God, I can't believe they did this. What a big fail. How embarrassing. You're like, I thought that was a
it's a
feature.
feature. Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
it was like the over scroll on an iPhone, but they just made it cuter. Oh, I guess that's a problem.
No, no, it is. I love this. Aditya is like TK mentally is in Saturday afternoon right now. Yeah, no. I just need a good night's sleep and a little bit of recharge and maybe a good cup of. I didn't want to drink
Well,
coffee this late. That was a thing.
I can wake you up if you need it. Here, I'll just put this like right next to my microphone,
Yeah.
and
So just set it up for
I'll
5 a.m.
just
on full blast,
get
and
this
it's just
like
right next to my right ear.
just booming. So you just leave
Yeah.
your headphone, leave the stream running like all night, and
Yeah.
then when
Yeah.
it's time for you to wake up, what Robot Rock? You want some Daft
Absolutely.
Punk? We could do.
That's the way to do it. I do need to be up at 5 because yeah, tomorrow's still a work day for me, so it kind of.
Bam. Do-do-do-do-do. Bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
Do-do-do-do-do-do.
That'll be actually a good mix to wake up, man. That'll get you,
I
waking up comfy.
It works. It works.
Yeah.
Actually, like I was doing some of the slow motion water tests in the
Mhm.
subwoofer. Again, for anyone listening to the audio version, what I was holding up was this ridiculous Soundcore boombox Bluetooth speaker called the Motion Boom Plus. Again, people do download the audio version of this, and we just kind of moved to another topic. But I was like testing it out, and I was pouring water into the subwoofer cones, and I was like, "Hey Lex, what should I play?" And she was like, "You should play the robot song." And I was like, "Oh my God, 6-year-old girl, you are
Asking.
correct. Yes, that is what we are going to play to get slow motion video
Yeah,
of
of
water
the-
spraying out of a subwoofer."
I was almost
I-
tempted to say you should have put some borax in there. Just put some borax and just get that bounce effect. Exactly.
It was like, I'm gonna pour some soda and some Mentos into this subwoofer and explosion.
And then let's see which survives.
The
No,
Boom Motion Plus, I made it go boom.
that's a title. The biggest thing I would probably say though is seriously Soundcore knocking it out of the park. Like it's seriously one of the better
You know what?
solutions for years.
I said it in my video. I'm just repeating it here. The video went live today, and I got I got this one ridiculous slow motion shot of a hummingbird just checking out the speaker. Like it came back like 3 or 4 times, just to like, what are you doing? And okay, that's ridiculous. And then it would fly away, and then it would come back, and it got really close to me as I was dumping water on the speaker. But if you have any experience with Soundcore, this is an audio brand from Anchor.
Yep.
They have taken, I think, my top recommendation for bass junkies. So if you get some of their, like especially their Liberty earbuds, those are skull rumblers. I thought One Mores were kind of rich. I'm wearing the Vivos. I've got the Bear Dynamic Freebirds. They're all like, consumer vibrant. They've got like, not deep V, but maybe smiley face EQ. And like, yeah. One Mores, man. These are a little too rich. They're getting a little too bassy. And then I put in some Liberties and like, oh no, these are going to rattle the fillings out of my teeth. Like this is all sub bass. And wouldn't you know it, their portable, waterproof, durable Bluetooth speaker is built very similarly. It's basically just a giant boom tube of subwoofers with a couple little tweeters to give you any kind of articulation in the mids.
But it's the speaker you take with you to the beach, camping, backyard. It's a portable solution.
Rumbles.
Absolutely, and it fills the environment. You feel like you're in the you're listening to the music by yourself. And I think that's the main benefit. Seriously,
it's too much for my small office.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. It needs space. It needs space because it sounds better. The bigger the space, the better the acoustics can bounce and fill up the room. If it's too small, it just basically reverberates on its own, and it doesn't give you that full room experience. But outdoors, you definitely get a better experience there too because it can just fill up the environment. I love the boombox experiences, and like when you go out in the backyard. That would have been a perfect solution over some of the stuff I've had to set up with speakers and wiring and all a bunch of different things. Just pop a Bluetooth and go. So yeah, for sure.
It's shockingly good. But again, it's also like from where we started with little portable Bluetooth speakers. This is like it looks like an old school cassette stereo in size.
Yeah.
Like like this would have been like a cassette player back in the day. The
Like
handle,
I
you
can
know,
imagine you sitting at the like down
have that
right
in the
from your
middle.
wife's window playing Wham back in the old days. You're just like, you never want to play again. I'm sorry, we
What
watched
is it that?
Deadpool not that long ago. A guilty
Oh,
feeling
but
has
what?
got.
No, what is it? Is it? So no, it's John Cusack is holding up the boombox, and he's playing Peter Gabriel.
Oh,
What's is it? In your eyes, in
your
your eyes, the
is
light, the
it?
heat.
Maybe
Is
it
it
is.
that?
I don't
Oh,
remember.
that's gonna bug me.
That's like
Now I gotta look it up.
I'm on the heels of watching Deadpool and
Cusack
how he was wow.
box.
He was like, I'm gonna sit in front of you and play Wham, Wham.
Yep. Okay. It was. So
Is
in the
Peter
movie "Say
Gabriel in
Anything," it's Peter Gabriel
Gabriel
in your
in your
eyes.
eyes?
That's what he's holding up in "Say Anything." So
Yeah.
I feel I got that right. This would be the modern day equivalent of that style of boombox of portable stereo.
Mhm.
Only it's also like instead of having just like two speaker tweeters that kind of point out the front, the entire center cavity is just a tube,
Hold on,
which is
let me put
bookended
let me do this
by
real quick.
active
Oh, that's not what I was
subwoofers.
trying. Yeah, right
So
there.
when I make the DC Comics joke about having a boom tube,
Mhm.
this is a boom tube. It is a tube of boom. So this is an active panel of a subwoofer, and there's another active panel
Panel
of
of
a
a subwoofer.
subwoofer, and they work in tandem throughout this entire hollow center cavity
Oh
to
wow.
just rumble everything around you. And it is, again, it's shocking. So what's also kind of cool is like if you do something stupid like I was doing, like pouring water directly into this
The
subwoofer
actual subwoofer.
cavity, it'll just kind of drain out the bottom. It doesn't stay in there because
Okay,
this is all
okay.
one giant resonance
Get into
chamber.
yeah. This is so. This would have been perfect for borax. See, this is what I'm
It's
saying. You put
insane.
it because borax would have set on the top, and you would have just gotten that keep continuing popping, popping, popping. I mean, not too much, obviously. I'm just saying a little bit in there, but I've always wanted to kind of check out their audio solution. But yeah, so the long story short, we recently reviewed, or at least I recently reviewed their their sport solution with the ear loop. Omar is using those now. And
Nice.
I can't wait to see what some of their other option comes out. I mean, we're not done. The year's not over. They had frames. They were experimenting in different options and solutions for audio. But their Liberty 3 Pros for me still would be my easy like recommendation for LDAC, for great, like you said, bass, and actually pretty decent EQ. They sound decent. The
Hmm.
battery's nice. Audio from them comes really good. And they look good. I like those. And then they also have so many other the light series and a whole bunch of different things also that you can, use. But and then they still support with software. They include features. The Liberty 2 Pros got LDAC before the Liberty 3 Pros were released. So that's how nice it was. Oh, well, yeah, I realize. Yeah, it's getting a little bit late. Hope you have a good night, man. Good night. Um, so overall for me, this week has been a little bit of a mixed bag. Like I said, traveling, checking out OnePlus, super excited. Got a chance to drop, both of you got a chance to drop the Surface. We saw a lot of good stuff from you as well. What's going on for the rest of the week for you? Are you probably going to drop one more video or maybe something Patreon or?
I might put out just another quick editorial. So here's what's going to be kind of tricky.
Sure.
I think I'm gonna pitch my Pixel 6a review to reviews.org.
Okay.
So the video that I would have put up on my own channel, like I
Hmm.
think I'm just gonna send it over there instead. Um, so I mean, again, I mean, if you've ever seen any of my reviews, it's not going to be a radically different perspective from me reviewing a phone.
Hmm.
But tomorrow, I think I am going to try and just put one more small editorial together, like there was all this outrage on the Pixel 6a and the 60 hertz screen and the supposed fingerprint sensor bug. All of that chatter has completely vanished.
Yeah.
And the search on this phone is already plummeting now that it's actually shipping to consumers. So, like, I guess all that was nonsense and wasn't a big deal because where I guess they magically fixed all the problems with the Pixel 6a, because we're not hearing people complain about it anymore. I feel it's highly disingenuous to sit there and complain about a pre-release software phone. Your SIM card was in it 3 weeks before it launched, and then you just never felt like seeing if the phone got better on release. So I feel like that's going to be a little of what's going out tomorrow. Next week, reviews.org is going to have the more like, this is how I used it, and these are some of my thoughts, and here's some of the performance testing. I just published on the Patreon the actual PowerPoint graphs. Like, I've just been charting all of the phones that I reviewed this year for my benchmarks, and it's stunning how bad people have been reviewing Tensor and not really comparing performance against the 888 or the 8 Gen 1. To spoil what is a premium post on Patreon that you can't see for free, the Pixel 6a has now set 2 new records in 2 of my video rendering tests.
No.
That's not 2 records for its price. It is now the fastest Android phone I've ever reviewed in 2 types of video rendering. It's beating all of the 8 Gen 1s. It's beating all of the 8 Plus Gen 1s.
Gen 1s.
It's beating phones like the Xiaomi 12S Ultra at $1,300. This $450 phone is setting records. This $450 phone is not falling prey to some of the same thermal issues that the 8 Gen 1 would fall prey to, and is able to maintain upper mid-pack consistent performance in heavy lifting CPU bound tasks, even though its Geekbench scores aren't as gooder as the 8 Gen 1.
The 8 Gen 1,
so
yeah.
if you really use your phone to do things, there's a $450 phone out there that, depending on what tasks you really need to do from your phone, is able to hang with and often outperform phones that cost 2 to 3 times more. And so I know Tech Odyssey's, kind of picking at this because he knows it's like a trigger statement for me. But again, anyone who's saying things like, it's basically just an Exynos, is advertising to you that they have absolutely no clue what they're talking about in terms of SoC design, and you should probably believe them. You should believe them when they say dumb things like that they don't know what they're talking about in terms of SoC design. Because it's true, they don't know what they're talking about.
There's an association
it's
with
pretty incredible.
the Samsung's association with Google and the increase. We could definitely see that Samsung and Google are working a lot together. There's more things kind of collaborative, from where bringing in Wear OS, from bringing in, supporting them and helping them develop and manufacturing. We know Samsung's approach to certain things. What we need to understand is the purpose built of Tensor and what is Tensor intending to do. And you're right, when you compare it, you have to compare it to, similar functional things that people use the system for. As a processor, it may not get the best numbers, but seriously, on a day-to-day activity, it hangs with everything and it performs up there. And like you said, and it beats.
But again, it's to me, it's giving me glimmers of the Pixel 4 XL. The Pixel 4 XL did not perform Geekbench scores as dramatically as other Snapdragon 855s, but thanks to some custom Google hardware, that thing was a monster at chewing up image data. So if you needed to edit photos or if you needed to chew up video, nothing could touch the Pixel 4 XL for years. 888s are still slower at a lot of imaging tasks than the Pixel 4 XL. And when you hear Google's making their own SoC and the core configuration is very different than an 8 Gen 1, it doesn't. They make this claim a lot. We got to sit in one of those Team Pixel events. We're sitting next to a Pixel product manager, and they're point blank saying things like, "We're not chasing Geekbench scores. We're not trying to make this thing win synthetic benchmark tests. We're trying to focus on machine learning, and we're trying to build the camera experience directly into our SoC without having to staple on co-processors." And you're like, okay, yeah. I mean, you're going to tell me, yeah, well, our chip doesn't perform as well, but we're trying to do different things with it. But it's true. And if
Hmm.
you actually test in real world conditions with real world apps, and you're not just looking at these synthetic scores, suddenly Tensor is on a completely different tier of performance. I mean, like, what? An 8 Gen 1 can easily add 30% to the multi core score over a Tensor. I think a Tensor still scores like
I thought.
2,900 to
Oh yeah.
an 8 plus Gen 1's 4,000 for a multi core CPU score. Those
Hmm.
numbers mean nothing because I can throw very CPU bound tasks at the Tensor and have it hang with a Xiaomi 12S Ultra on an 8 plus Gen 1. So again, that's it's like another major failing of how we're trying to discuss these products. And when people overly focus or overly fixate on this idea of average consumer while they're holding up the most expensive phones, they are now grossly misrepresenting what these products can really do. It's
Yeah.
not just, well, I think Samsung will get me more clicks, so I'm going to declare them the winner. It's also the flip side of that is I don't even know how to use another phone, so I'm just going to pretend like it can't do anything as well, and I'm misrepresenting what it's actually good at.
Yeah.
You know, you can shrug, oh, I mean, I guess, yeah, Google's good at image processing and camera stuff, I guess. No, you don't understand the impact that has on social media services like TikTok, on
Yep.
getting video cut and edited for Instagram, making little vlogs on YouTube, like all of the things that every social media site is trying to encourage.
This
A
is the thing. This is it.
$450 phone
Hmm.
has now set a significant record in two of my tests over a Gen 1, over
Which is why. Which
Qualcomm's most
most
expensive
expensive
SoC.
SoC. Yeah, no, and the biggest thing also I love about it is it truly, like you said, I keep calling it a premium mid ranger, but it really, this is truly bringing in that flagship experience, the flagship
It's a
killer,
flagship killer.
because it
The
brings in
Pixel
the flagship
6a
in. Yep.
is not a mid-ranger battery life champ. It is not a battery life champ.
No
The Pixel 6a is a flagship killer, and the United States, it's been a long time since
time
we've
since
had
we've had.
a North American purpose-built flagship killer.
Absolutely. And I think as time goes on, as we get closer also to the 7 and 7 Pro, the 6A is going to carry us for another year, right? So this is not the end of the story. This is the beginning of the story. And you know, like you said, we got the update. So we have the day one, well, not the day one, the day three update. And we'll start getting updates as time goes on. And also from a development standpoint, we also get images. So we have restore images in case you want to
Yeah.
go play around, unlock the bootloader, enjoy, you know, do your thing. Uh,
So
but for,
I'm probably going to follow up. That was a really rambling way of saying I'm probably going to follow up the 6A for something
yeah.
just short. And I mean, again, it's going to be an editorial video. It's not going to be a review. And then
Yeah.
after that, I really got to finish up some earbuds. I've got the Soundpeats, the
Okay.
Air 3 Pros. These are
Hmm.
cute little earbuds. I've got their mascot sitting in a box down under my table. And then also, I've had these almost the whole summer. And I'm finally like, I should make a video on these things. They're pretty good. These are the Libratones. Again, this is like a premium tier solution. It would kind of compete up against like a Masters in Dynamics. And
Oh,
just a
wow.
really pretty case with like little light indicators and
Hmm.
like a triangular ear stock design. They're
Yeah.
pretty cool earbuds. Tough competitive spot, and there is some brutal competitors because these are sort of the upper tier. I think they're on sale right now for $200.
Wow.
But one of the best like packages, the fit and
Hmm.
finish, the way the case opens, the lights. There's like a little charge indicator light on the USB-C plug.
I like that.
So when you wireless charge or when you plug it in, I think I can even get it to got a hair in
So
it.
it'll show
I
up with
think I
all the
can
light.
even get it
Oh yeah.
so I can show you the battery
Yeah,
charge
yeah.
just by
I could
clicking the
see that.
button and it
Yeah.
flashes right from the USB-C charger. Like so many beautiful little design
Is that a magnet in the
considerations.
back?
No. It's just their logos on the front, and then there's
Oh yeah, yeah,
wireless charging on the back of the case.
yep.
But again, it's like you've also got to judge the sound quality and the ANC and the pass-through audio and the battery life, and
Of course.
there are a lot of options in this space at around 200. So I'm hoping to have a video out on both of these true wireless next week.
Yeah, for me, I'm actually so I'm in kind of in the same boat. I'm actually trying to round up and finish up my thing on the Buds Pro. I took them with me, and they were literally with the exception of, not to say that I didn't think the audio quality was very good. A little bit of a teaser about some of the experiences. Um, because I was having to have a lot of conversations, a lot of calls, a lot of things in loud environments or environments where there was a lot of noise. The ANC was a big factor for me as my experience, but also noise reduction from calls, like surrounding noise experiences, have been some things I've been working on. And overall, I think for the sound quality, I like what they do. The battery life is really good. The touch responsive has been really nice. Uh, Audio has been a little bit of a challenge. I would say the microphones, where from my experience have been really good because I'm on the receiving end and I'm getting cancellation around. It has not been as pronounced on the other side, and I'm hoping maybe they're able to do stuff on that in the future. But it's still a good recommendation if you're looking for the best of what Google offers. And a really good integration with Google services, and getting notification, answering, responding, swipe to raise and lower volume. There's a lot of nice little tricks with it, and for a companion to a 4A, or sorry, 6A or a 7 or 7 Pro when they come out, I think this is going to be a good experience. I'm loving to see how what Pixel is moving forward in that direction. So I'm hoping I'll have something on that this weekend, if not early next week. Um, and I have some stuff that I, unfortunately I can't talk about too much, but that probably will be coming out next week as well. It's like
I mean, there's always that
there's always
too.
that. There's always that part. No, but I do want to now that I want to say this. I'm more so likely trying to shoot for my review for the 10T for next week. I want to live with it a little bit more.
Mhm.
Traveling with it, using it on T-Mobile has been an absolute blast. I clocked in over 1,000 down on that phone, and
It's good.
I have for mid-band sub six, carrier. There's no UW, and this is
We don't
T-Mobile
we
using
don't
my area.
get really any of that here in the spread
Yeah,
out
and
urban sprawl of Los
this was
Angeles.
down the street from my house. I didn't get this in New York. I got it here. So I'm gonna say this: if they spent money to put better antennas and get better signal reception on this phone, kudos,
Mhm.
my friend, because you got the connection. Um,
And
yeah,
better antennas should not be a differentiator between an $800 phone and a $1,000 phone. Better antennas and better radios should be
yep,
in $400 phones. But taking those baby steps, seeing the kind of network performance that you saw on the OnePlus 10T
yeah.
at $600 is absolutely correct.
It's what I want.
Yes,
It's exciting me about the
more
next
of that.
generation. And like I said, again, it's the teasers. The T series always teases us for the Pro series next year. So to me, all of these things, I'm hoping just literally kind of just they fold it into the mix and they just add a little bit more goodness to it. So we'll have to see how that kind of goes in there. And of course, we'll see hopefully with the next generation. The House of Light collaboration is going to be at its end kind of next year. That'll be the third year with them. But yeah, so long story short, finishing up some stuff. I want to live a little bit, a few more days with the Pixel. Want to see how the update has been done because they pushed the update the day I left, so I never got a chance to use it. I just got home and first thing I did, I installed it and I got it running. So I want to see how the experience changed. How
Hmm.
has there been any significant improvements I'm able to do? I also want to test out a little bit more on the 4K 60 and see if I'm able to go a little bit longer. But again, 20 minutes for me is still like 21 minutes. Seriously, I get
Hmm.
if you need more, you wouldn't really be looking at the 4A and as at the 6A anyways. You should really be looking more at somebody like a phone that can hang, or even a camera. Seriously, at 4K 60. But we'll let people make a decision on that. So we'll see how that goes. So with that being said, I will say this much. We are kind of coming up to our natural conclusion. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe yet, make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell icon so you can always be notified whenever our new shows are up. We do have an audio podcast that does come out. It usually comes out about 24 hours after the show in case you want to listen to it and you just play it in the car and so on. It's available on your major podcasting solutions on the market. Yeah, and then I know there's a lot of things kind of covering the tech world is picking up. We're going to hear about a lot of phones, back to school, new devices. I know Unpacked is next week. It's mostly foldable, so I don't think it's going to be a lot of.
Eh.
I mean, there'll be some attention regardless. It's Samsung, but I think it's more of a very very specific niche market of people that would like to get those. So I'm debating which one I would probably look for. I want to see what improvements they've done. A lot of the things I've heard so far from leaks and so on, from like renders and so on, it doesn't look like there's a lot of change. So we'll have to see. And then we'll see how it goes. I'm sure. I think it's on next week, sometime in the middle of the week, Samsung. So it'll be busy. It'll be busy for all of us, and we'll see how it goes.
I'm booked on projects, and I've got my own personal calendar set for the whole week, and I genuinely don't think I have room for Samsung.
Yeah.
So we'll I mean, like, so wait a minute. The Unpacked is before next week's stream?
Hold on. I have to double check. I don't remember the date. I know it's
I
next week.
might only dedicate time to Samsung just for us to talk about it next week on the podcast. I'm not even gonna try and do the reaction video or anything like that. I don't know that I could be less interested.
It would be nice if I turned on my keyboard.
In what we've seen from Samsung this year.
Well,
I feel it's going to be how can we shave $100 off of each product, but then also give you way less.
August 10th. I think so. It says a new way to flex is coming, and we'll have to see what that means. So it looks like it's August 10th.
So it'll be Wednesday. We'll talk about Samsung next week on Best of Our Week.
Yeah.
Here's my hot take. Here's my hot prediction.
Yes, please.
I'm not gonna have any Samsung videos next week except for this podcast.
I'm debating if I may or may not make a reaction, but
I can take it to the bank.
No, but
I'll refine. If I do any videos or any reactions to Samsung Unpacked, it's going to be a 15-second lens video on patreon.com/somegadgetguy.
Make sure to check out the link
anything
to that
public
as well.
The only thing I'll have to say about the Samsung event will be next week on this podcast.
So make sure you like and subscribe and hit that bell icon. We'll come back to you guys. We'll see you guys. Also, make sure to I'll catch you guys Saturday morning with the Android Bay, Monday morning with the SGGQA, because he is the Mr. G to the questions. Of course, as always, be safe, stay safe, take care of yourself, and enjoy your tech. At the end of the day, that's the whole purpose of tech. It's supposed to make our lives better. What will you talk about?
Michael, what will you talk about after the first 2 minutes of the stream, though? That's dirty, Michael. I love it.
We're gonna have to talk about that new, what's it called? The zucchini bread that we're all trying to perfect. I always remember Sam's wife.
I mean, if we need to talk about working on sourdough starters and baking, we can do that. We can do a whole podcast on that.
I'm gonna throw this back to I'm still waiting for my ramen invite, bro. I'm still waiting for my ramen invite.
You should be. My chicken and mushroom ramen, bro, is so good. I did that other batch of it recently before it started getting really hot, and man.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm tooting my own horn, and I'm building up the expectations. I feel I nailed it.
I feel like one of these field trips we need to do to Casa de Juan, and Juan will be hosting that event. But yeah, we'll do for sure. Again, be safe, stay safe. We'll see you guys very soon. Take care for now, and bye. Good night, everybody, and good morning wherever you are, of course.